podcast party people. How you doing? How you living? You maxing? You relaxing? You in a good state of mind? Are you in a good mood? Are you fresh? Are you frustrated? Well, No Fucking Regrets podcast is here to save your day. Save your day, goddammit. Hopefully put a smile on your face. Maybe make you think about something. You know, all that good stuff. Make you feel alive. Just make your day a little bit better. That's all I'm trying to do, man. That's all I'm trying to do. Make your day a little bit better. I'm hanging out. I got the Twitch twats over here. I got the subs club. I'm on Twitch. If you didn't know that, I do most of my podcast intros and occasionally some of my podcasts, depending on how my Wi-Fi is in my fucking studio that's got shot-ass Wi-Fi. But you can hang out, and I do all the intros separately. And so I often have, all I need is the Wi-Fi for Twitch. So the Twitch twats are here watching the intro. They can comment. You can comment in real time. I'll read your things. All that good stuff. So it's twitch.tv/Robb Flynn. I am officially been accepted into subs. So you can subscribe. I think there's 3 different tiers, and I don't know what you get for any of the different tiers, but just if you want to be a big roller and go tier number 3, boom. I'm stoked. But I got a lot of subs now. Very cool. Very excited about this. So I do a lot. I'm actually on Twitch every day, or not every day, Monday through Friday. Depends on the time. If I have a podcast, I generally start the Twitch stream around 5 p.m. PST, California time. But like right now, it's 1 o'clock, and I'm just starting it now. So you can come hang out and all that good stuff over on Twitch. So, what are the Twitch saying now? What's Twitch saying right now? What do we got? What are we talking about here? We got Kirk McCray-Cray's on here now. We got Ozman. Yeah, podcast. Oh, there you go. They're sharing podcast links. See, we've been just promoting the handful of podcasts like Spotify, Apple, and then a lot of people watch on YouTube now. But you can watch anywhere, anywhere that podcasts are listened to, you can find them there. That's the good thing. That's the beauty of being on Gas Digital. They put that shit everywhere. I think Google's got one. There's a bunch of them. So, I just listen on Spotify or Apple or YouTube. That's where in fact, I don't listen to my podcasts. I just do these and then I put them out. And so I never know, I don't go back. I'm not a dude who listens to my podcasts. I'm just not a dude. Barbecue says he's waiting for more jack-off stories about the Proud Boys. Prior to coming here, we were talking about how that George Takei actually put up a thing. George Takei, Star Trek fame, put up a thing on Twitter the other day. Hey, TikTok kids, how about we take over the Proud Boys hashtag and flood it with pictures of very gay things or men kissing and all this stuff. And apparently it worked. I didn't hear about it until kind of after the fact. But and I follow George Takei. I just missed it. But man, there's so many pictures of bearded dudes kissing and making out, and it's like Mardi Gras now for the hashtag, for the Proud Boys hashtag. And so I was just reading some things about it. And then I kind of just went down this thread this morning. I was reading this thread this morning about how, just why it happened and who it happened and what it did and, all this stuff. And then I read a whole thing about how one of the pledges to become a Proud Boy is that you can't jack off. And the reason that you don't jack off is because by not jacking off, you will have so much virility, so much, as the Italians say, so much cazzo duro, so much hard cock. That's what that stands for. So much machismo that women will be just tripping over themselves to fuck you. And so don't jack off and you'll get more pussy. And I was like, what? Don't jack off. What? Like, first of all, if any group of people or gang is telling you like to be a part of this gang, you can't just run. Like, just run as fast as you can away. No, jack off. Fucking go jack off. No wonder those motherfuckers are so angry and want to fight everybody all the time. Jesus Christ. Fuck. Can't jack off. No. And then so we were having this conversation on my Twitch about, we were talking about the hashtag takeover and all that shit. And then I was just like, no, like that's what the Muslims say, and that's what they say now. And I'm just like, when did this become a thing? Like, what? Just everybody go jack off, jerk off for world peace. That's it. Like, that's what you want, world peace, motherfuckers. Let everybody jack off and stop making them feel guilty about it. You'll still have sex. Sometimes I jack off and then go home and me and my wife have sex. She'd be like, did you jack off today? And I'm like, I did. She's like, I knew it. I'm like, you didn't know anything. I was like, it was great. She's like, no, I could tell you were taking longer. I was like, you were taking longer, Berto. That's what my wife talks like. Berto. She calls me Berto. She doesn't call me, almost never calls me Rob. She calls me Berto. Or Big Bear. Big Bear or Berto. So yeah. So there's that. That happened. And then over the weekend, Trump got the coronavirus. He announced that he got the coronavirus. We're now finding out that he had it for a long time. He put out a bunch of pictures. Bunch of pictures, like total photo op pictures, a couple of different changes of clothes. He's got a Sharpie and is signing blank pieces of paper. Like Twitter. I mean, that's a fucking love the internet. Like fucking bust people. Like they fucking zoomed in, like all these zoomed in pictures. Like, no, that's a straight up blank piece of paper. And he's signing a blank piece of paper with a Sharpie. Apparently he was infected for a long time. I guess he refused to take the coronavirus before the debate with the coronavirus test before the debate with Biden. And so some people are suspecting maybe he knew even as early as then, and that's why he refused. Who knows? I tell you what, though, that was, but here, Ozman was saying, though, because Ozman on my Twitch here, he's an old homie, been an old homie of mine forever. And Ozman was actually stationed overseas in Afghanistan. He's a goddamn hero. He's a national treasure to the United States of America. Fucking Ozman. Ozman, a.k.a. Evan Vossen, was overseas, and he would interrogate... Barbecue says, I might have to write a parody song about the Proud Boys and call it Wild Boys by Duran Duran. Anyway, but I was talking about how, like the Muslims aren't like all those crazy terrorists over there. Like they're not supposed to fucking jack off either. Like they're not supposed to jerk off as part of their thing. And Ozman was saying that when they busted those motherfuckers, they'd go into their computer and that they had the nastiest porn on there ever. Some sick shit. Some sick, twisted shit. I mean, not saying it was gay or, fucking weirdo, pedo shit, but like just some fucking gnarly porn. Some gnarly ass porn. That's right, because they want to jack off too, and I was like, then they start to watch it, and then they get all conflicted, and they're like, I can't jack off, and they don't jack off, and then they're even more pissed off. They worked themselves up and got blue balls. Boy, I'm gonna have to edit this intro. Jesus, I can't be saying any of this in a fucking intro. Jesus Christ. Everybody's tuned in to hear poor Beez on my fucking podcast, and they're getting a fucking earful of this. Like, sorry in advance. Not all podcast intros are like this for the No Fucking Regrets podcast. All right, I'll move on from this. I'll move on and tell you about the funniest thing that happened this week. Of all the things that happened this weekend, I'll tell you about the funniest thing that happened this weekend. So my wife and I, Ginevra and I, every Friday and every Saturday, we have a little date night. we have a little since the pandemic started, can't go out anywhere, can't go to bars, can't go to visit our friends. We're on lockdown. We are practicing our lockdown, we're being super good on lockdown. And wear our masks into the store, and we do all that. So anyway, every Friday and Saturday we kind of transformed our garage into like a hangout area, and then because the weather's been so nice, we start off in the backyard around 6:00. I do my acoustic happy hour, and then I come home and then we drink. I drink my Grey Goose and Bailey's, and she drinks her bottle of wine, which really is like a bottle and a half. But she wants to like pretend that she's not going to drink that second half. But then we always end up opening the second half anyway. So on Saturday, we started drinking. We started drinking kind of early on Saturday. We started drinking around like 5:00. We had dinner, with the family, but then, we're just having just like a beer, and like she had a glass of wine and I had a beer. But then, come like 8, it was like 8:00 or 8:30. It was getting dark, but it was still really warm. It was really hot this weekend. And we were in the backyard, and we're pretty drunk. And the last week, I got to say, very unproud of myself. I drank probably more than I should have, and I drove down to the grocery store and I bought her a bottle of wine and came back. And we shouldn't have done it. I drove, nothing happened, but like I was definitely over the limit, and I was like, we can't do that again. Like, this is not okay. And so then we tried to do fucking DoorDash. We're trying to do Postmates. I'm like hitting up my friend who works for Instacart. I'm like, why is nobody fucking delivering? And at this point, I'm like fucking hammered. Like, both of us are hammered. Like, but it's only like 8:30. So I'm just like, holy shit. So we're like, let's go ride the bikes down to the grocery store. Okay, let's go. Berto, I need some wine. I need some more wine, Berto. And I was just like, why don't you just go buy a third fucking bottle, and then we don't got to go down to the goddamn store on Saturday. I need some more wine. Let's go. I don't want to drink 3 bottles, but you're drinking a bottle and a half every weekend. Just buy 3 bottles instead of 2, and then we got to take a trip on fucking Saturday to get a goddamn bottle of wine. So she's like, let's ride the bikes. And I was like, keep in mind, these are our kids' bikes. So granted, they're my son, who's fucking 6'3", and my oldest son is 6'3". So we bought a bike for his size, so I can ride that bike and it's fine. But the other bike that we have at the house is my youngest son's mountain bike. He's 13. He's like 4.5 feet tall. So it's really like a kid's mountain bike. And so we jump on, we're super drunk. We're like, let's just go. Come on, it'll be fun. So we jump out. It's a nice night. It's like warm. We're like, okay. So we jump out. We start riding. Both tires on both bikes are nearly flat. I mean, literally nearly, like almost riding on rim. But we're just like so hammered. We're just like, fuck it. It's almost, we live kind of like at the top of this hill. We're like, well, fuck it. It's just all downhill. What does it matter? We'll fill them up at the gas station. So we start riding the bikes, and we're fucking cruising down. And we get onto the street, and we cross the street for some reason because there's only sidewalk on one side of the street that goes to the grocery store. And we forgot which side that street was because we never walk. Like, we never walk to the grocery store. So we get on the wrong side, and then the sidewalk ends, and we're like, oh shit, we got to fucking cross the street. So we cross the street. We go over the fucking street, and like, I never realized how goddamn dark it was on the street leading to our grocery store until I was riding a fucking bicycle on the sidewalk, and there's fucking trees and branches that are like way low overhanging. Like, I'm scraping under trees, and it's pitch fucking black. You can't see a fucking thing. Like, there was cars going by because it's a Saturday night, so there was like cars every once in a while. But every once in a while, there'd be like a minute where there was no car going by, and it was fucking pitch black, and it's all like the sidewalk's all windy, and like I was like, holy shit. So we finally get there. We get to the gas station. We fill up the tires at the gas station. We're like, okay, we're gonna fill up that takes 100 years because I'm fucking can't put the thing on the cap. And we sit there, and finally she's like, she was like, before we left, she was like, the only thing that you need to bring is your wallet, your ID, and a mask. She's like, do you got your wallet? I was like, yep. You got your ID? Yep. You got your mask? I'll get it out of the car. Okay. So, because I keep all my masks in the car, because that's the only place I don't need them at home. So we're the gas station's at the corner, and then the Safeway's at the farthest end of this little strip mall. And so we're at the gas station. We just filled up the tires, and she was like, "Okay, go get the wine, and I'll just wait here." And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "You got a mask, right? Because you're not going to let you in without a mask. Here in California, they're fucking brutal about it. Like, no mask, no entry. They got fucking, that's how people fucking push you out. The security guards will just like straight throw you out." And I was like, I start checking. I was like, oh my God. And keep in mind, we're both fucking hammered. I'm just like, I was like, holy shit. I was like, I forgot the mask. I was like, she's like, are you fucking serious? You forgot the mask? I was like, I forgot the fucking mask. She's like, oh my God. She's like, I don't have, I'm like, you go in and get it. She's like, I don't have my ID. I got no money. I was like, fuck. So she's like, take my shirt. So she takes her shirt off. Keep in mind, we're at a fucking gas station on the backside of a gas station. And luckily there's a bunch of trees right in the backside of the gas station. But so she's like, she's hanging out under these trees just in her fucking bra. She's like, just wear my fucking shirt and hurry the fuck up. Jesus Christ, I can't believe you forgot the fucking mask. Berto! I'm like, okay, so I fucking run down to the Safeway. I walk into the store and I fucking she gives me her tank top. So it's like a tank top that I fucking put on, like a Love Death tank top, and I'm trying to fucking put it on around my face, and it's not saying. I'm trying to tie it. I'm like, fucking, I'm fucking drunk. I'm like, what the fuck? I could fucking put this thing on. Like, I'm gonna finally get it on. I go in, buy the wine, and we come back, and I'm just like, all I'm thinking the whole time is, holy fuck, I hope nobody needs to get air in their goddamn tire, because there's going to be Ginevra sitting by the air tank under the fucking, under the trees, while in a fucking bra, holding two, and nothing but her bra, holding fucking two bikes. They're going to be like, what the fuck is this fucking, what the fuck is this chick doing here? So finally I get back there, and I'm just like, got the wine. She brought a backpack so I could stick the wine in the backpack, and she puts her top back on. We're riding back, and now we're riding back. Now we're hammered, but we're excited. We're like, we got the bottle of wine. We're set. We're fucking good. We're like, holy shit, it's all uphill. The whole 1.5 miles back is all uphill, and we're just like, oh my God. And then the last half a mile is just totally uphill. And we're just like, holy shit. So we finally get there, and like, we're cruising, and I'm like, I just like puss out. I'm just like, fuck this. I got to fucking get off the bike, and I'm going to walk the bike up. I'm going to fucking push this bike up. I'm not going to fucking ride this thing up. Next thing I knew, I see my wife with a backpack and a bottle of wine in it fly past me. She's like, see you, Berto. Like laughing at me, and I'm like, oh, hell no, woman. You're not passing me up. Pass me up on the bike. I fucking jump back on my bike. I'm all fucking hammered. Just like, I fucking put the fucking legs. God damn it. I ended up passing her, like, fucking finally get to the house. Got there, like, open the fucking wine. We're like, Jesus Christ. We collapse into the thing. We did an Instagram story, and everybody thought it was hilarious. It was like, holy crap. Well, that was the big adventure. That was the big adventure for the weekend, and it was great. Then she drank her wine, and then I drank some more, and got all hammered, and it was fun. It was a fun hang. We just sit in the backyard, and we're listening to music. We went on a Fleetwood Mac. I was on a Fleetwood Mac kick. I went on a big flick. I posted that video of that guy. This players only love you when they're playing. Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. Couldn't get that song out of my head, so we went on a Fleetwood Mac deep dive, just listening and drinking and kicking it. It was nice. It was a nice little chill weekend. Hung out, made a big dinner for the kids yesterday. My famous spinach and mushroom quesadillas. It was good. Some good shit. So, yeah, we had a good time. And the wife was happy. She got her extra bottle of wine. She got her extra half a bottle of wine. She was happy. Berto, thanks for doing that. So, yeah. So I got a guest. That was my adventure for the weekend. And I've got a guest. I don't have any music to play for my guest because he is my guest is actually Beez. He is a world famous journalist, TV personality, internet personality. He currently has got a job working for Knotfest.com, which is their multimedia site that they're doing. But I met him years ago when he worked for Metal Hammer, and then he worked for Rock Sound, and then he had his own shit called he was on Scuzz TV, and so he interviewed me a bunch of times there and all this shit. So we kind of go into all of that, and when we met, but really great, like really great guy, like genuine fucking metalhead, like lives and breathes metal, just way down for rock, very opinionated. You know, he's very opinionated. He's a firebrand, man. He turns people off sometimes because he's so opinionated about his metal and about things. He's pissed off lots of people in the music industry, but that's one of the reasons that I love him, because he's a fucking solid dude, man. And we had a great talk. In fact, I was on his show, which is called Mosh Talks. You can go to Knotfest.com. He's interviewing all kinds of people right now, but his show's called Mosh Talks, and he also does it on Twitch. So if you're on Twitch, that is a perfect place for you to check it out. Oh, shit, I didn't read my sponsor. Motherfucker, I got to read my sponsor. Here, let's see. I got to read my sponsor. First of all, let me just start by saying that this podcast is brought to you on the Gas Digital Network. Gas Digital is, let's see, where's my thing here? Gas Digital Network is one of the raddest podcast networks out there right now. They've got all kinds of killer shows like Jamie Josta's show. They have got Legion of Skanks. They got a bunch of news stuff. They got libertarian stuff. They got all kinds of anything for your podcast needs. I think they have a sex show. I know the main guy, Ralph, does a show where he has like strippers hanging out in the back, just dancing naked behind him sometimes. And it's like, yeah, good stuff. Quality content like that. But you can head over there. And if you head over there, you can actually sign up and subscribe. GasDigitalNetwork.com/, what is it? No, just enter code NFR for no fucking regrets. NFR. Get 10% off your subscription and get the first 2 weeks free. So that's right. You get 10% off. NFR is the code. Subscribe. You also will get the podcast 2 days earlier. All of the podcasts normally drop on a Friday, but they go up there on a Wednesday. So you get them early. And with no, some other stuff. I don't know. Anyway, head over there to GasDigitalNetwork.com. Find out all the information. This podcast is also brought to you by Nuclear Blast. Nuclear Blast. Shout out to Nuclear Blast. Fucking best record label. They got Machine Head. They got Slayer. They got Nightwish. They got Madball. They've got Meshuggah. They've got Opeth. They've got Blue Pills. They've got all kinds of stoner shit and black metal shit and death metal shit and all good shit. Suicide Silence is on there. Whatever your bag is. Thy Art is Murder. All kinds of shit like that. They got a lot of great metal. And if your physical product is your thing, they specialize in ultra premium physical product. Way better than the other shit out there. And I know because they've made some of the shit for Machine Head and it's been like the most insane shit we've ever dropped. So head over to nuclearblast.com. They have a store. They have a warehouse in Germany and they have a warehouse also in Los Angeles. Ships all over the world. Check that shit out. Also, I just want to let everybody know that the No Fucking Regrets email is finally up. Finally. We just got it connected after literally, I don't know how long, 6-9 months? Fuck, a long time. But if you want to read some stuff, if you want to send any information, stuff that you like about the show, fucking give somebody a shout out, stuff like that, you can write into No Effin' Regrets podcast at gmail.com. That's No Effin' Regrets podcast at gmail.com. In fact, a bunch of people just wrote me the other day, and I think when the Dino one dropped, let me see, where's my fucking thing over here? Oh, no. A bunch of people wrote. So we had Paul Marshall, podcast listener, wrote, "Hey, Rob, just a quick-ish mail. Really into the podcast. It's like having a beer with a buddy I've never met. insight into a world we'd never get to see. Thank you for that. I've seen you guys many times in Manchester, blah, 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 burn my eyes, blah, blah, blah. Keep it up. Always love your stage presence, your pure honesty, and inspired me to, so it was a nice letter, and he's loving totally current podcast out of a shitty situation. He definitely liked it. Killer podcast. John Paolone. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Hey, Rob, I've been a huge fan of the podcast since day one. My fiance and I have been to every Machine Head show since the release of Locust. We are both huge fans. I'm glad your podcast is doing well. I hope to see you again, probably sometime in 2023. You're a fucking funny guy. I didn't think that you would be as funny as you are, but listening to the podcast really brought that out. Although I don't always agree with your political view, I still respect and like to hear them. The last podcast with AJ Chandler was a good listen. Your podcast has introduced me to a lot of bands, and I would not have listened to if it wasn't for your podcast. I really like how you deep dive into their life. Yes. Cool. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Shay Keating says, hey, Rob, first off, big fan. Your incredible music career, as well as the podcast. I love your interviews, particularly with Matt Heafy and Dino. I think it would be cool if you had Sean Glasshole on the podcast to talk about his music journey and persistence through it all. Hope you and your family are well. Joseph N. Fuller wrote, good shit, Rob. I loved your interview with Dez. I find him very fucking interesting. A huge fucking fan of your music. So all kinds of people writing in. And then, as I mentioned before, I do read about once a week. I go through and I read the comments on the YouTube page. I wait till it kind of marinates for a while, a good week after, because it seems like, just not enough views over there. But yeah, you guys definitely loved that Dino interview. That was certainly the biggest. That was the biggest podcast of the last month or so. Probably because of the timing, for sure. But people loved it. It was cool. It was a good deep dive with Dino and Dez. Definitely people like the Dez one. So very cool. But I read them, and I even read them on here. I'm not going to read it on this one because I just read all the stuff from the email. But yes, and then my sponsor signed up to listen to a podcast. You're going to walk away buying a bidet. That's right. Do you know what a bidet is? Let me tell you about what a bidet is. A bidet is, I first discovered bidets the first time that I went to Japan. So back in 1995, we went to Japan for the first time, got there, went to go, just long flight, 13 fucking hours or whatever the hell craziness it was. Got there, got into Tokyo, went the fans, in Japan, like all the fans are in the hotel lobby, like waiting for you. So you're like, holy shit, like it's fucking overwhelming sensory overload. I got up to my room and I was fucking beat ass tired. I had to take a shit. I sat down to take a shit and I was just like, what are all these? And there's like when you take a shit in Japan, like, first of all, the toilet seat is heated, which is the best. Toilet seat heated. It's got like a little thing that's raised up, and then they had this little fucking electronic device on the side of it, and I was like, of course, it's all written in Japanese. It's not written in English. So I'm like, what's this? I hit this button, didn't do anything. Hit this other button, didn't do anything. I hit this other button, boom, suddenly I'm feeling warm water squirting right up my asshole. I was like, whoa, the fuck was that? I was like, what the? I was like, hey, I kind of like that. Beez should have did it again. I was like, Jesus, kinky. But that was my first experience. And then I realized that it was just a way to clean your butthole. It actually kind of goes like back and forth and kind of just cleans your butthole. It's a way to, instead of, using toilet paper, they do this first and then they do the last little wipe with the toilet paper. That was their thing. Wasn't popular in America at the time. Guess what? Fast forward 25 years. Boom. There's now, let's talk about my sponsor, Omigo, an amazing bidet brand, changing the way you poop. That's right. Omigo makes a modern, incredible bidet delivered right to your front door. With Omigo, you can turn any toilet into a bidet. It's so incredibly easy to install. No need to call a plumber. This is a DIY job. Think about it. You're pooping at home every day, or in my case, I'm here at the studio almost every day, but I do poop every morning. Why not treat your butthole with a little respect? Respect the butthole. It will change your life. You'll never go back to toilet paper. You will though. Like you're going to get that last little wipe. Don't, Still get that. You want to do that last little wipe with toilet paper. You got to go check them out. They have a bidet for every toilet, every butt, every budget. Go to myamigo.com/Flynn and take 15% off today. That's myamigo.com/Flynn, my last name, and get 15% off. Get a bidet today. Boom. There we go. All right. Sponsors out of the way. Let me just put this down here. And I'm going to go right into it. We told a lot of stories here today. We've told a lot of stories. A lot of stories. A lot of action happened this weekend. So anyway, I'm going to get into my friend here, the Beez, the legendary. He is kind of a legend. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen. Beez.
How are you, Beez?
I'm very well, man. I'm very well. It's fucking all systems go at the minute, but I'm really, really good.
I know you're a busy man. Holy smokes. You got so much shit going on.
Well, do you know what it is, man? I've had a couple of years I took myself out of the firing line for a couple of years. And when I've decided to come back, like, I've got so much that I want to do. And all of a sudden, all of the opportunities have opened up. And I've come to America to save heavy metal, Rob. What can I say?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I was just listening to your latest metal podcast.
Oh, yeah?
Which is a fine podcast, by the way.
Was I being nice about people?
Yeah, you were. I mean, no, you were to some people.
Yeah.
About some things and then other things. So this is the podcast where you're talking about the Behemoth live stream, which was fucking, I agree, was just unfucking believable. I mean, I literally texted Nurgle the second it was done. I was like, I pretty much just saw the future of streaming right here, of live streaming.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I keep saying to people, Rob, that I think it can replace the live album, man. Like, the live album become redundant because people could film it on their phones and you could watch the show that you were just at when you got home.
Totally.
But now, like, for like 6 weeks before that Behemoth special, I've been going, like, people need to start making their own, like, HBO specials. Like, I want to see fucking Metallica doing Master of Puppets in full, surrounded by the crosses and the fucking full 9 yards, right?
I mean, I'll be straight with you. I was really inspired by it. Like, I was just, the whole time I was watching it, I was just like, oh my God, like, this is where it can go. Oh shit. Like, this is what we can do. Okay. You know, cause I've got that, like, visual, you know, videos like Darkness Within and Now We Die. They're always very, you know, weird. And, you know, I love all that shit. And to be able to, like, you know, it's like you're basically putting out a 2-hour, or maybe in Machine Head's case, a 3-hour like video with performance, but with these artistic elements. I was like, fuck, like, there's just so much cool shit you can do.
I can't hear.
And they're just rad because they're so fucking evil. God damn it, I love it. Like, the fucking church and the burn. At one point, he's like the fucking conductor of the orchestra with the flame. Right? I was like, oh my God, this is sick.
And like black smoke billowing out. And the thing is, like, it just plays to the band's strength. Like, I can't hear Davidian without seeing you walking down the street, concrete jungle style, like, all attitude and where California was at that point in time. And the bands have the ability now to bring that mind's eye vision to life. Like, fucking someone get Mastodon on the phone. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. Right. Yeah, would be, theirs would be super psychedelic, amazing. You know, like,
exactly that.
Full acid mescaline trip into the universe. Like, which would be awesome. Yes, that's what I want. You know, we'll all take mushrooms and watch the Mastodon fucking.
Oh, absolutely. Like, the fact that in California someone can bring me high potency edibles to my door and I say, thank you, sir, and off he goes. Fuck yeah.
I know. It's like dominoes. I know. It's like dominoes.
Exactly that. People, like, when I say it to people back home, they're like, huh? Yeah, I mean it. Like, no drug dealer times, no I'll be there in 20 minutes and he turns up 5 hours later. Weed to your door inside half an hour.
It is a crazy thing, right?
Yeah, there are upsides to the land of opportunity.
Yeah, I mean it's great. I was just talking about this with Jose from because he's a big weed smoker. You know, he's
Yeah,
even got like he's even like partial owner of some,
yeah,
CBD weed delivery company or whatever it is. But I guess there's still kinds of little classifications here in California as opposed to in Colorado, if you know that they're like it's completely legalized. It is now part of the economy. Like last year they
wow,
made something like $350 million in tax revenue just from
fuck,
weed. So that's all going to roads and schools and, like going
yeah.
into the infrastructure of the state of Colorado to make the infrastructure of the state. And I'm just like, why this whoever's going to be president, just fucking declare weed legal in all 50 states and start taxing that shit and make money, motherfuckers. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
absolutely. Weed and South Park. Colorado's got it going on.
They do. They do. They do. You probably have some South Park dolls. I'm looking at for all the people that are just that are just listening and can't see the YouTube. He's got a whole collection of all kinds of action figures behind him, and
Like, this is no look, Robb Flynn. Like, I am a nerd, right? Like, this is not a gimmick at all. Like, I look like this because this is I'm incapable of being half-heartedly into anything. I love unconditionally, and yeah, that is
it's
what
awesome.
you see
What do you
behind
got? What do
me.
you all have back there? I see some. Is that Freddy Krueger?
This is the one. This is
No,
the
I gotta
one.
put my I gotta put my glasses on.
That is
Oh
me,
shit! The Snoop
me and
Dogg
Big
action.
Snoop. Me and Big Snoop just chilling.
That's badass.
Like, Ghost, AFI, a lot of it is music and horror based because,
Right.
fan that got
That's
lucky
awesome.
and the rest of it.
That's fucking awesome. Who's the band in the right behind your left arm? Down a little farther on the bottom shelf. That one.
That is Metallica. That's
Oh, is it?
They did some bobbleheads ages ago.
Oh,
Like
okay.
they were super duper rare. But
Okay.
those are out of the box, and there's another 4 in boxes up there because loser. And this is what I signed up for, Rob. I wanted to be laughed at by my hero.
No,
Love
I love it. I've
Love
got
it.
so many I mean, dude, I collected so many action figures when I was a kid. I was crazy
yeah?
about. I mean, I'm older than you, so I was collecting
Yeah.
other stuff. But
What
Star
were your
Wars action
what were your
figures.
things?
It was all the Star Wars action figures. Like I was fucking bananas about. I had to have every random robot that you only saw on screen for half a second, dude. I had the blueprint. I had the Star Wars blueprints. The blueprints. These things have never been made. Like there's no such thing as a land speeder. You don't need a blueprint for the land speeder. Like I had the fucking blueprints.
When we put you on the cover of Metal Hammer in Star Wars, who did they have you dressed as? Who did they have you dressed as? Who was it?
I think I was Liam Neeson.
Nice.
Was
Queen
the
John
Liam-
Jin.
Brain farting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they had me as him.
Amazing.
That was the character. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Who did you want?
I was just happy to be a Star Wars character. I was thrilled to be a Star Wars character, I would have loved to have been Han Solo. I would have loved to have been, I would have been Vader, but who can be Vader? You can't be Vader because then nobody knows who the fuck you are. So.
No.
But it like my ultimate would have been like if you could somehow morph my hair out of the bottom of Darth Vader's helmet or something and put a nose ring in or something just to like.
Man, I think you'd have made a good Chewie.
So that there might have been some. Right, yeah, a Chewie. Yeah, I could have made a good Chewie.
If we'd have just added some hair instead of taking away.
I could have been the white Lando Calrissian. I could have just for that.
I'm into it.
No, I was into that. I was really into. I really got into that. I really got into Shogun Warriors. I don't know if you remember that, but it was an anime, like early anime.
Oh, cool.
And then there was this stuff called Space Cruiser Yamato, and then there was also this anime called Robotech. And so I was like, I went to all the cons. I went to all the. I was meeting people, meeting the voices of the people and getting autographs. So I was really I was crazy about all that shit. So I get it. It was really fucking cool. Like to me, that shit was like really cool. And as a father, it's super interesting in this since the pandemic, both of my kids have gone crazy with anime, like crazy on anime. So like that's all they fucking watch, and now they're rewatching shows, and they're crazy about this show called Attack on Titan. My youngest is watching this other show called Naruto, and it's all fucking, dude, I sit there and I watch it with them. I'm like, this shit's so sick, because it's all like modern now, like very, you know, the effects look cool, and so
the sensory overload is like, so I watched the season that's called a show that's called Demon Hunter, and because I use gaming headphones, right, it's all 3D sound. So the sensory overload of these amazing manga graphics plus the 360 sound is so sensory overload.
Oh, really?
I understand.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. I understand why people go so like all in, like metal's our thing, like anime is totally like all encompassing.
Yeah. I mean, the one that he's watching right now, it's probably, I want to say it's about 12 years old, but the soundtrack is all like fake metal songs, you know what I mean? So it's like you know, so like when they're going to fight another battle, like I was like, see, I was like, I told you anime was cool, right? Like they're playing metal. Are they playing dubstep? No, they're playing metal.
Fuck yeah. I was saying to a mate of mine about like in Europe, like Sabaton, fucking huge, like they're doing Wembley Arena now, right? And the vocal melodies are all that same kind of, it's borderline power metal when you put the riff in and the style of melodic vocal together. Like you can see, but you can also see why. Like to me, I see young people in Sabaton, not my favorite band, right? But like fucking, I'm all for any heavy metal band that are getting big and popular and bringing people in. Fuck yeah. But like when I see young people into Sabaton, I was like, what is it then? Because power metal is so like the past, and I know everything comes around again. I was like, what is it? And I that was one of the things that I was kind of putting together. I could be wrong.
What is it?
It's this kind of cheesy Euro, over the top and flamboyant vocal that also goes like, you can also take out the Euro of that, and that also describes the vocals that are next to the anime chuggy guitars. Like when you listen to the theme music for these shows and things like that, you go, oh, okay. Like with this stuff getting more popular, when those people run into Sabaton, they must feel like, holy shit, there's a whole band. I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's a whole band of this. So I think it's kind of maybe like just floating ideas out there.
I love it, man. I'm stoked to have you on here. You've been interviewed. I was trying to remember the first time you interviewed me, and I want to say it was for Rock Sound about a decade or so ago, maybe even before that. It might have been. Oh, it might have been before that. My clearest memory. I remember we did a photo shoot for Rock Sound, and you and I talked there in some photo studio somewhere.
I remember that. Yeah. Like, and that was just as Unto the Locust was coming out. But I tell you, the first time I ever interviewed you was I won a radio competition with Ian Camfield for XFM, right? And the prize was you get to Ian. He's awesome. You get, like he's in Phoenix now on air. So Ian had they ran a competition to interview Machine Head at fucking
crazy.
And your winner sits before you now. Ian was crazy. Ian was nervous as shit because it's like 14-year-old turns up, my voice and the way that I talk and everything exactly the same. So he was like, okay. And then when he was like, okay, you get to ask Rob some questions, I asked you your question.
And he was there with you?
Yeah.
We were on the phone? Was it in person?
No. This was at the Lost Weekend at the London Arena on the Burning Red.
Oh my God. Crazy. Holy shit.
Which totally explains why that period's a blur for you, Mr. Flynn.
Oh my God. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Totally. That was last night of the tour. Yeah. For sure.
So I interviewed you there. And
okay,
you gave me a bunch of pics and all kinds of shit. The photo still exists at my mum and dad's house somewhere.
oh my god, that's
us
awesome.
three, like when I was a kid. But yeah, you are officially the first musician that I ever interviewed, mate.
No shit, holy crap!
As a teenager, at the age of 15.
That's pretty amazing. I mean,
I
think it's rad that Ian Camfeld held a fucking. That's a pretty rad fucking win for a contest. Yeah. But I think it's even more amazing that you did it. Like at 14, there's no way I could have interviewed my favorite band. Like I was too introverted. Like I couldn't have spoke. I wouldn't have been able to speak. Like I literally would have just fucking clammed up and been like, staring at the ground. Like, fucking, you know what I mean? Like
I have never had trouble speaking. Quite the opposite, in fact. More people would wish I would shut up than keep speaking. Right. But yeah,
that's
like it was cool as shit, man.
Was it a good interview? Was it a good interview?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you asked me? I don't remember. I don't really have a recollection of this.
I remember asking you what it was like to have loads of people ask you about rap music like it was something new to you. And your face was like, yes.
Wow.
That's what I asked you. I said, is it a bit annoying that people... like, because you've just done the Burning Red, people were acting like rap is new for Machine Head because you've been doing it for years.
You know what? Now that you asked the question, I kind of remember this because it was like, rare, most people, not everybody, you are completely an exception. You always ask really interesting questions, which is, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people are just lazy and ask kind of like, oh, so where'd the name Machine Head come from? And you're like really, dude, but when you get something like that kind of sticks out. Where were we backstage?
It was a backstage area, but they had like this big backstage area, and he was doing video interviews for the internet, kind of at the back of it, and I had to stand to the side and let him do his interview. Our interview wasn't even filmed for anything. They literally just said you get to interview Machine Head. So it didn't go out anywhere or anything like that. But I just got to ask you some questions. You gave me some pics. We had a photo. It was fucking rad as shit. And I kind of knew what I wanted to do with my life at that point. But if ever I needed it cemented, that'll fucking do it. And then you played and Skunk and Nancy played. And I've had worse Sunday evenings, mate.
That show was fucking awesome. I mean, that show was crazy. Like, it was fucking insane.
Your runs on the Burning Red were fucking insane. You did a back-to-back, you had a double header where you had 1 minute silence open for you in the UK on it.
Oh, right.
No one I don't even know if you would be aware of this, right? But in the UK, it was like no one takes 1 minute silence out. There were this band, everyone from like the mid 2000s, everyone from England's like, yeah! Like there was a band in England that their rep was like, we are the live band, and no one took them out. And
they were killer live band, killer front man. I can't remember all their names, but they were fucking great front man, super nice, like fucking maniacs too.
Yes, real lunatics. But back to back, the combo of them and you, it was like, I think it spoke volumes about Machine Head that it was like, no one takes this band, and it's like hold my beer stuff. I love it.
Nice. I was just reading. I was reading NFR. You're a hard person to research. I gotta say, there's not a lot of There's not a lot of interviews with you. There's a lot of. I guess the podcast is probably the most kind of personal, documentation of your life. But I was reading how at one point you started your podcast originally, the That's Not Metal podcast, and I guess you had taken Sonosphere to task for having an Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden was headlining, and then they brought in a DJ drum and bass type band to be the main support, which was a thing for a minute there in the UK. Because we got bumped, I forget what it was, but we had to play like under some fucking, this dumb DJ band headline. And we were like, what are we doing on this? Why is this dumb ass no one's going to in 2 years, no one's going to give a shit about this fucking band. Like, why is this band here on download? But it was like, whatever. We ate it, but we didn't say anything, and you did, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so fucking glad that he said something."
Story of my life, Rob. The amount of times that my life is people coming up to me and saying, like, "I'm glad you said something." Like I've learned to become a little bit less outspoken because it became just a ball ache, man. Like the thing is, like, loads of people trot out the like, "Oh, I'm just a fan," like kind of thing, right? But genuinely hand on heart, like when I hang out with my friends, we talk about music like you talk about music with your friends. Like everyone doesn't sit there and say like, "Oh, well, I can't say I don't like the new X album because I know them," or whatever. When you're sat around with your friends, you're just fucking telling the truth,
talking shit. You're just talking shit.
The thing is, it ain't even got to be talking shit. But like,
everybody talks shit. Everybody talks shit.
But yeah, talking shit. So, but when you're doing that, like, you just kind of don't think twice. And it took me ages to kind of learn the line of when it's okay to say something and when it isn't. But I just don't like the idea that everything is good, because if everything was good, then there would be no
everything's
lines.
Not good. Everything's not good. That's what drives me crazy about metal now. Like there's this kind of like everything's not great. Like everything wasn't good. And take it from a dude who was around at the beginning of the thrash scene. Everybody didn't think everybody was great back then either. You know, like
that's it, man.
You know, there was plenty of thrash bands where we all went, that sucks, you know, or that's like thrash metal for chicks or something. You know what I mean? Like
it's okay to look at your culture and want it to be better. Right, I love heavy music. I live heavy music, man. Like, like you know it the same way as I do. Like, no matter where you go, if someone recognizes you, you will be talking about heavy metal in the next couple of seconds, right? Wherever I go, whatever I do is rock and metal lifestyle. Like that's, I wouldn't want it any other way, because nothing brings me joy like talking about this shit. Yeah, it becomes difficult.
Who was the drum and bass? Who was the band?
It was Pendulum. Pendulum were the band. But the thing is,
never
like,
heard of them.
the thing is, like, really big in the UK. I was merely saying at the time, my point was, this is not what Iron Maiden fans want. It's not what I want. It was just like, have you ever met an Iron Maiden fan? Right? There are loads of you now that might be like young and cool enough to like Iron Maiden and drum and bass, and fucking high fives to you, right? But you are definitely the minority, right? 99.9% of Iron Maiden fans, the only thing they want from a drum and bass DJ is his head on a spike, right? That's Iron Maiden fans, man. And I was online editor at Metal Hammer, right? Which is a tough gig. The reason why I can handle anything online when anyone wants to chirp off at me is because when you run a website for a big magazine like that, or a Loudwire or whoever, when you put all of your shit on Facebook, basically everyone insults everything you do all week long, right? That was my week. My week, it was proper, like, you know that, here we go again, here we go again, Grand Theft Auto meme. Like, that was me on my way to work most days at that point in time, because that is what's waiting for you. But yeah, I digress. I've kind of gone off grid. I do that sometimes.
It's called No Fucking Regrets. So we can talk about anything. We don't have to stay on grid. You know?
Yeah, that's it. We're like, and all you're doing is trying to get the metal news out there and to spread the good word. And when you see what's written in those comments, it's okay to go, yo, metal can be better. We don't have to pretend that metal is the most tolerant, caring, like, once upon a time, maybe. When we were coming into it, maybe. But it's okay to look at ourselves and go, we can do better. In the same way, the bigger fight that I fight is when people say, rock and metal will never die and all the rest of it. It's like, if you ain't paying attention, we ain't dead, but we might be on life support pretty soon. We've just come off the first decade, right, where in mainstream pop culture, they have not given one fuck about us, right?
Oh,
Our Grammy, like watching High on Fire win a Grammy was glorious. It being on a pre-show is a nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Like
The internet pre-show that's in the other building, not a part of the Grammy building.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like it's third world country. Yeah.
So what? So are we? By me standing here with my microphone and going, heavy metal is the greatest and we will never die. Am I doing the best job that I can do for heavy metal by saying that? No, I'm not, man. The reason why I came over here, like dead serious, the reason why I wanted to come to America is real influence lives here. And rock and metal is in a better state in 2020 than anyone out there realizes. Because if your version of rock and metal, if when the mainstream looks at us, with the best of respects to these bands and whatever, but if what they see is Breaking Benjamin, no wonder they think we've got nothing to contribute and we're boring and rock just almost all sounds the same, because there is a certain type of rock that is put out there that does all sound the fucking same. And rock and metal has always been chaos, Rob. Like, I'm on the soapbox here, but like, when you look at the bands that headline festivals, not second or third headliners, the bands at the absolute top, every one of those bands went against the grain of what was going on at their time. The next band you see doing that will not be one of the bands that are now trying to play the mainstream's game. The next band you will see doing that sound like Blue Oyster fucking Cult. And who saw that coming? Ghost are the next band that you see, that you are going to see do that, right? And why? Because rock music is fucking chaos, and I'm here to want to bring that back to the fucking fore. Like, when hair metal was the thing, they didn't see thrash and alternative coming. When thrash and alternative was the big thing coming, they didn't see pop punk coming, right? Every one of these, and pop punk didn't see new metal coming, new metal didn't see emo coming. These things are totally different to one another, but that's chaos, allowing that to the fore instead of controlling it and saying rock music is shine down.
Right.
Just my take.
I mean, I think you got a good point. I mean, I was listening to that, and as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking to myself, you know, you're so right about, you know, especially when you say, you know, hair metal didn't see thrash coming, you know, like all the thrash bands hated hair metal. All the thrash bands hate you, like Paul Bailoff, you know, rest in peace. I mean, he'd fucking walk up to you, and if you were wearing a Motley Crue shirt or a fucking Rat shirt, he would rip the shirt off of you and throw you out of the fucking show. Like he was, and this is the singer for Exodus. This is the singer for Exodus. You know what I mean? Like it was like, you're a fucking poser, kill posers, die posers. You know, it's just like poser. But it was like that fucking cut and dried. And especially in the Bay Area, like, you know, there was like different from the LA glam scene, because all the Bay Area glam bands were like wannabes of the LA, which made them even worse in our eyes. Because we're like, oh my God, you guys are just trying to be Motley Crue or trying to be Rat or trying to be Van Halen. You know, so it really was that. But with that said, even within the thrash scene, you know, a lot of people don't talk about this, and I get why people don't talk about it, because we have this like romanticized version of the thrash metal scene. Right. But Slayer and Metallica fucking hated each other. You know, like they shit talk. You want to talk about shit talking? Like James and Lars would get on Rampage Radio here in San Francisco, which was just like a little college station, hammered out of their mind, and fucking like Lars would pretend to interview Carrie, and James would pretend to be Carrie, and they would fucking rip them. I mean, like, hey, that's a lot of upside down crosses you got. Oh, I like to hang upside down. You know, shit like that. Fucking, I mean, just fucking clown them. And like there was, you know, people don't put this together, but like there was a reason that those two bands didn't tour together until the Big Four. You know, like there was, and then Carrie talked shit, and then they would go back and forth. You know, like there was like rivalries that were, you know, pretty serious. You know, it wasn't friendly. You know, like fucking and of course Megadeth and Metallica. That was a whole other thing for years was kind of about the same up until Rest in Peace and Justice for All was pretty much equal. And then, you know, Metallica did the Black Album.
How do you feel when you get
and it's okay. Like it's okay. Like all of that shit talking, all that competition, all of that, you know, it just pushed those bands to be faster, harder, more violent, more darker, more satanic, more like it made that whole thing just, go farther. And in many ways, that whole, I think in many ways that the whole everyone is great thing means nobody's great.
I agree.
We're all great,
totally. That's the point. That's totally the point. How do you feel when you get brought into rock beefs, right? Because I'm a journalist, right? We have to report on these things where it's like someone said something about someone. I can say it because he said it. I had the dude from Bezer on my show. He was calling
super nice guy.
Yeah,
super
right.
nice guy. Big Machine Head fan.
Until he was calling the singer from Godsmack an arsehole, right? And I started laughing, and he was like, "Oh God, I'm going to totally cop it for that." But like, how do you, like? You're just a human saying you don't like something. If someone said they don't like what I do, right? I'd be like, "Yeah, that's fine. As long as you're cool with me."
Like I've got zero. Like if the dude from Bezer thinks the fucking dude from Godsmack is an asshole, like who fucking cares? Like he's completely into. Who knows what interaction went on? Like who knows what happened? Like fucking. Like who knows? Like and it's okay if the dude from Bezer doesn't like Godsmack or doesn't even like the band for who like. Like that's fine. Like we don't all have to like the same shit.
That's it, man. And like in my field, right? There's people that I think are great, and there's things that I think are great, and there's things that I don't think are great, and there's like that kind of thing as well. Like I just think everyone feels that way. And so if someone in my field was like, I don't like what you do, beer, right? I'm fine with that. If we get on as humans, he can think that I'm a gobby cockney twat as much as I like, Like, as long as we're all here trying.
Does gobby mean talkative? Does that mean talkative? Gobby? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it does, yeah. So, yeah, like, if it's just, we're all trying to make heavy metal better, aren't we? We're all, like, we're kind of all on the same side, so all this squabbling shit, it doesn't really matter, does it? Let's just try and get this back to where it fucking should be, because I'm sick and tired of bands having to split up after album number 2 or 3 when they're on the verge of great things and all the rest of it. I'm so desperate for heavy metal to get back to rock and metal and whatever that looks like in 2020. I'm so desperate for alternative culture to have its seat back at the table, Rob. Like I had a chat with, this is a fucking hell of a name drop. I had a chat with Billy Corgan, fellow slaphead, Billy Corgan. That means balls, yeah. So we were talking, right, and he said, if alternative culture is mainstream culture, what is it the alternative to? Right, and that one sentence changed the entire the course of what I was doing, because it made me ask myself, am I doing what I think is right to bring real alternative culture to the fore? If I'm covering these silly tween pop bands with no guitar tone calling itself punk, like, am I helping punk rock, or am I helping to redefine what punk rock is to make it something that it isn't? And yeah, fucking that one sentence from Corgan basically set up the second half and the rest of my career. I'm here to help.
Yeah. It's funny because I often, and like journalists get a lot of shit, and I will be the first to admit that I've given journalists plenty of shit, publicly
chats,
and
all musicians group chats are slagging the lot of us off, and we all know it.
Yes. But I often do, and I'm not really friends. I'm not really friends with any journalists, and I think that's been a choice of mine that I've made throughout my life, because
Don't blame you.
Just feel like it's inevitably going to go wrong, because it like. I don't want to say we're on opposing sides, but like one side has a certain thing to do and another side has another thing to do.
Yeah.
And so, but I often think about, you know, especially when you're in a magazine writer, you know, like if you work for a monthly like Metal Hammer, or especially a weekly like Kerrang, which is fucking really hard. You know, I mean, here in America, like most of the magazines are now like bi-monthly, every 2 months, or every 3 months, something crazy. So it's a little different, but you know, there's like this constant pressure to like put out the new thing and like big up the new thing and like, you know, promote this. And of course you got your bands that you support, but then, you know, and at some point there's going to be like, well, you know, people seem to like it, so I guess I'm going to, you know, write a good story about it. But it's like, you might not love it because it's like you're trying to like bring forth, you know, this culture or this thing, you know, and I think that is a difficult line to walk, because, you know, part of you, you know, everybody's got their own moral compass about what they like or what they don't like, and you know, metal, what's cool, what's authentic, what's fake, you know what I mean, like that. And so, you know, but then you're going to get pressure from your boss, your editor, your you know, the powers that be. You know, if you write a fucking magazine, if you write a album review for a band that people love, but like the fucking record sucks, like what are you supposed to fucking say? Like the record fucking sucks, you know, you're gonna write like, hey, this fucking record sucks, you know, like, you know. So, and I know sometimes it happens when like interviews get, I mean, reviews will get swapped out, like, oh, you turned in a bad review, we're just gonna have so and so review it. Yeah, that's happened.
Yeah, that's happened before. That happened. It was depressing, but it's more.
That's happened to you?
Yeah,
that's happened to you?
Yeah, that's happened to me. Like, it got me into so much trouble saying it, but yeah, that's happened to me. The biggest thing for me is when you work in those environments. See, I only used to cover at Kerrang, which is a weekly, but I worked on staff at Metal Hammer for years. I ran there online, and Metal Hammer is where I got my start, so it always is close to my heart. Yeah. Shout out Chris Ingham. Shout
out Chris Ingham.
Yeah, right. When we were putting together the magazine every month, to me, what the job is to represent a bit of everything, right? So you have your top tier stuff, which is the stuff that sells, whether we like it or not, fucking immaterial, right? They're the bands that people like. That if you pick up the magazine because a band are on the cover, it's our job to then fill it with shit that makes you want to come back again. And that's where it gets interesting. It's about what a magazine can represent at its best is a bunch of passionate music fans collaborating with all of their various tastes to put forward an advertisement for how great the world of rock and metal is. The reality of it is that the internet has changed it all, man. The clickbait culture made me, like, I had to give up writing because I can't be bothered with this, like, okay, you've got 3 sentences to tell a story. Here's 10 reasons you went to take a piss this morning. Like, that style of journalism just left nothing for someone like myself who is deeply interested in all of your art, right? And when I came to the States, the big thing that I wanted to do was to be able to interview musicians, and whether I like them or not, is to interview the musician and get what is most interesting about that human being out there to their audience, and therefore I'm helping heavy metal. There's a guy who I fucking love, for the record, Andy Biersack from Black Veil Brides, is a total sweetheart, right? I love him as a human, right? We like the same shit. If I liked his band, we would be really, really good friends, I think. Right, but like, we laugh about it off camera. Like, he's always like, one day you'll like something we do, and I always say to him, right, if I like something you do, you will not hear anyone shout louder about it than I will, because I like him as a human, right? So my job when I'm doing Black Veil Brides is, Black Veil Brides have this amazingly passionate fan base, right? They fucking live and die.
So passionate. They fucking love that band. They're fans.
that's it. So my job is to ask Andy the most interesting questions to serve that audience. And that's it, right? Anything that comes out the musician's mouth is up to them, right? What I think becomes difficult for musicians, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, I think I'm kind of asking you this, is we do a 45-minute conversation about life when we chat, right? Where you're at, what you're into, where your band's at, where your art's at. See you in 9 months, right?
Right.
But that 45 minutes is condensed to one sentence, man. Like
sometimes,
I wish that people would apply more to wanting deeper answers than seeing a sentence and reacting to it, because you're condensing someone's entire, that could be a 10-minute train of consciousness about a subject into a sentence, and that means we all, to a certain extent, you all get misrepresented.
And you got 1,000 words. You got 1,000 words to write, or 2,000 words to write, and that's it. So like something's got to go.
Do you feel misrepresented a lot? Because that's how it happens, I think. Like, you have these big, long chats. Like, it all comes down to, like, fuck this or whatever, right?
Right.
And then it's like, but we had a 25-minute conversation like a pair of Buddhists about putting the world to rights and getting shit better. And it comes down to that one sentence. I think the change of journalism I'm only 36, mate, but I've done it since I was 14. And I've seen it. I've seen the dawn of the internet and everything happen through my career. And what it's done to distort journalism, like, has become a bigger topic because of bigger subjects. But the idea and the principle exists across the board. You'll love this, mate. So I wrote a feature for Hammer where we were talking about Green Day were going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? And I knew everyone would be upset about it. And my job is to get reactions from people, right? So I went, well, pop punk's been here for 12 years, and more bands want to be Green Day than want to be Nirvana. It's not a fad like thrash. Anyway, I just carried on with myself, right? That one thing, all you've got to do is plant that one seed and you've got 500 comments of what? But they know that. Right? They are looking for you to react that way. And that's not for me, man. I want to tell musicians stories, right? But that principle, it's easier to push outrage in people than it is to make them love. It's easier. If you're going to be a pro wrestler, it's easier to get people to go boo at you than it is to get them to love you, right?
Right.
But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try and we should create a hateful world, Rob.
Right.
That's just my take.
I like it. You know what song I think that you might like by the Black Veil Brides? I'm not going to say I love the Black Veil Brides, but I got a couple songs. I like a couple songs by the Black Veil Brides.
I remember you saying good things about their record. I was happy to see it.
The one record in particular, I don't really know much of the other stuff, but the one record in particular I do remember listening to. And there's a song called "Let Shadows Die" off of something in the Divine or something like that.
Wretched and Divine. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. There's a song called "Let Shadows Die." That's actually a banger, man. Like, it's a fucking banger. Like, give it a listen. You might still hate it, but I'm just telling you, like, of all this, like, I can understand why you hate some of the songs, because like some of it's just like, whoa,
But the thing is, like, it's deeper than that. It's like, I want to like it. Like, he's got a really distinctive voice. And this says it all, right? They've got a song that I think is fucking amazing called "Coffin," right? It's not on any of their albums, and it's not on streaming, right? Which makes me sound like I'm being.
Why is that? Was it an old song?
It was after their first record and before their next one. They just released it as a song and a video, but for some reason it's not out there, which makes me sound even like I'm being a hipster when it comes to Black Veil Brides. But I assure you, I'm not being. I'm just saying that's the one I like.
It's the demo. It's the demo. The Black Veil Brides demo was the shit, bro.
Yeah, that's it. That's
After the demo, that was it.
Yeah, they sold out. They sold out after that. Yeah, it's good. Like a band you don't dig, you can still sit there. Like, I want Black Veil Brides to succeed in a massive way. I love Andy. I've got a relationship with Andy's dad. Like, I really like. That's the thing, because I don't keep friends in bands for the same reason, Rob. Like, right. I've got a handful of people that I know. Even whether I like their art or not, we're friends. Me and Winston from Parkway Drive, right? It took me a little while to get their latest 2 records. But when I was out there going, I'm not so sure about this, but this band are still one of the best bands of their generation, regardless of what I feel about their new records, right? Where we text each other about fucking everything but music, right? We're actual friends for that reason. But it gets an awkward line, doesn't it? Like if suddenly, if I think the next Machine Head record blows, right, that fucks it all, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? What can we do at that point? I'm like, I love you, Rob. You've been one of my heroes for like over 20 years, man. Like, I can't say I like this when I don't. I did like the last record though. Fuck him that didn't.
Awesome. Yeah, fuck him. Fuck him. And in that record's defense, a lot of people liked that record.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
Record sold a lot of records. It streamed a lot of streams. It had a lot of downloads. It sold a lot of physical product. People have this, I don't know why, like, it's like the type of thing, like, and it's something that annoys me about the press too. Like one of the things, like, they didn't anoint that record as a success, right? So the only story that could be told, like the media, especially here in America, but even overseas as well, they did not go, Catharsis is a success, and so nothing that was ever put out could back that up, right? It always had to be, fans didn't like it, it wasn't a success. But there's a whole other side to that story, because I know how much it sold. I know how much it streamed. I know, I know what the videos did. Like, it did really fucking good. It did better than, I can name 3 metal bands everybody fucking loves right now, and it did better than all 3 of them combined. Did it fucking, was it the Black Album? No. Was it trying to be the Black Album? No. It was just like, this was just where we were. Was it too long? I think it was too long. I felt it was too long to begin with. 15 fucking 70, 80 minutes of fucking music. Like, to me, especially after coming out of Locust, which had 7 songs in 55 minutes or whatever, like, for us to then, double that and have 15 songs in 80 minutes was stupid, but there was a lot of, internal dynamic, and a lot of the times when a band is working, like, songs end up on a record because, so-and-so wrote it and he's having a shit fit about it getting cut. You know what I mean? So you just try and go like, okay, listen, whatever, like, fucking who cares? But it does affect it, and then in hindsight, you can look back and go, yeah, like, we told you, you probably should have left that one off. Or whatever.
I love how a record takes on a life of its own once it's out there, right? But the press don't get to control that narrative. Like, that now the world exists in the way that it does, and you can literally see what each other are saying. Let me put it this way. Next year...
Yes, totally. Which is amazing about the internet. That's just what I love about the internet,
That's it, right? Next year is the 30th anniversary of the Black Album. Great.
Right.
You're going to read a lot about it. Next year is the 25th anniversary of Load.
Oh,
right?
my.
And that is the reason why that is another one of the primary reasons why I'm a music journalist, because I fucking adore that record, right?
I was reading that was the first Metallica record you ever got into, right?
That's the reason for all of this. So I was 13.
How old are you at this point? 13?
I was 13, right? And in the way that Metallica are mainstream here, they are like the world's biggest cult band in the UK. Like, they're massive there, but you don't see or hear their shit in the mainstream at all. Here, you'll hear them on NFL, you'll see them on fucking the Grammys, whatever, right? So I was really into Britpop, right? Oasis and Blur and all that stuff that was
Right,
going on
right,
in the UK.
okay.
And the Until It Sleeps video hit, right? And I was like, this song is fucking terrible, but this video is amazing.
The
This
fucking
video's
video is sick.
right.
It's a fucking badass video.
That's it, right? And when you're a fucking horror fan, like every time it came on, I just watched the video and the song got me a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. The next single was Hero of the Day, banger. Went out, bought the record.
Not a banger. Not a banger at all. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? That is Outlaw James. That's Outlaw James Hetfield on his horse, Flynn, off to find the Hero of the Day.
The Hero of the Day is not a banger.
Mate, this is the fence that I will die on. Right? So I heard it, right? I heard Load and Load. I liked it, but it actually gave me a headache. Load did, right? The next three records. The record itself. Like when I listened to it the first time, because I'd never listened to a full metal record.
13-year-old Beez listened to it.
It gave me a headache, right? But the next,
this isn't Wonderwall. This isn't Champagne Super. This isn't Champagne Supernova.
Fucking right. And so the next three records I bought were Antichrist Superstar by Marilyn Manson.
Woo,
Roots,
good choice.
Roots by Sepultura and The Great Southern Trendkill. Those were my next three records, and the rest is fucking history.
What were you? Take me back to Baby Beez. Take me back to Baby Beez. You're growing up in, I don't know where you grew up. You say Cockney, so I would imagine somewhere around London. Right?
South London, yeah. So
South London.
Concrete jungle, South London. I come from a place called Plumstead, which when my wife went there for the first time, went, fucking hell, it's really aggressive round here. And I had never noticed, but when that's your environment, you don't notice. And it is, I walk, when people see me out and about walking, they go, oh, I didn't want to stop you. You seemed angry. It's like, no, I'm short and I walk like that because in my area, you could get mugged at any second. And if you're really fucking short, but you're walking around like you'll bite someone's eye out, they'll think twice about mugging you. It's also why I think I have my speech is abrasive, right? What I'm saying is pretty up and like, I like to think I've got a pretty good vibe, but like my words are spat at you. Like I naturally come from an aggressive environment, but I think that's why my first loves were horror movies. I got into first, and it's why when I heard metal, it made so much sense. Like I genuinely, it's mad as it sounds, like I listen to other bands that play other types of rock music, and I think to myself, you've got a guitar. Why would you make it sound like that and not like fucking James
Not
Hetfield?
like metal, right?
Yeah, right. Like, why you can make a guitar sound like that? Why are you making it this flimsy Kings of Leon bullshit? So I think that my environment.
Was your parents like musical? Did they like your parents probably exposed you to some music? You know, like maybe the rock and roll of its day, or
a bit. Yeah, actually, funny you should say that. So my dad used to like do like local. He was like your wedding DJ, right? Like,
oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, like he had a pair of like turntable vinyls, and he had this like big box. This is so like late 80s, early 90s. He had this like big light box that his turntables went on that flashed these stars up. Right? So yeah,
badass.
Right. So that was his type of thing. My mum less into music.
And so he had to have though a huge collection of music.
Yeah,
you know, because if you're doing weddings, some people are going to want rock, some people are going to want pop, some people are going to want oldies, some people are going to want everything in between, right?
Yeah, and my dad's got a really bizarre way of consuming music, right? He's not an albums person. He likes singles, right? So like his music taste was like the top 40 charts of the last 25 years. Like loads of different shit within it. As long as it's not rap, he doesn't like rap. But it's all right. I like rap enough for both of us. But that was his vibe, and my mum kind of liked punk and ska and stuff, but like not like she wasn't listening to like fucking, I don't know, crass. Like she likes the specials and the pistols, right? There you go.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, so like
which was a fucking cool, which was a cool scene that was probably happening when she was younger.
Yeah,
you know, that UK ska punk scene really kind of came alive, like early '80s, right?
Yeah, man, and like Lars Fredriksson from Rancid set the underworld off in a way I've never seen before, right? He was like, I can say one sentence to the lot of you and it will piss you all off. And everyone's like, no! He goes, we sent you punk rock and you pretended it was yours. The Ramones turned up in 76. Your shit was 77. Here endeth the argument. And the London underworld was like, oh! Like you could hear, and like the individual conversations going on and everything was fucking amazing. So yeah, I guess it would have been that sort of time.
Yeah, and she gets into that, and she's into that. Yeah. And so are you, I mean, is she playing this for you, like, as you're growing up? Are you hearing the specials? Are you hearing, like...
No, just to be honest, like the stuff that I like that my parents play, it was the 50s rock and roll stuff. And I think it's why I've still got, like, I've got love for Green Day up to and including American Idiot, right? Because I heard so much Buddy Holly in what they were doing. Basic power chords, like just killer fucking vocal melodies, in, out, 2.5 minutes, bam, on to the next one. Like, that was the type of music that I did get off of them, but a lot of my stuff is self-discovery. Like, like it became like taping Headbangers Ball and like reading Kerrang cover to cover. Like at the point in time that I got into rock music in the UK, there was no Radio 1 rock show or any radio show at all. And Headbangers Ball got cancelled about 6 weeks after I got into metal. So the only way that you could hear bands, this makes me sound like I'm 900 years old, I'm 36, was you would read it in a magazine, remember them?
Before the internet, like you don't have internet at your house. Yeah.
No. You would read it and then you would go, right, that sounds like a lot of the things that I would like. I would buy records by bands and not know what... I bought Antichrist Superstar not knowing what Marilyn Manson sounded like. I just went, that's probably for me. The best one of those by a mile was October Rust. October Rust by Typo Negative. Like, when you've read like the verbal descriptions of what Typo Negative sound like, no one can tell you what Typo Negative sounds like with words. No one. I've been doing this shit my whole life and I couldn't do that. But you hear it and fucking music's magic, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
I mean, I would imagine that would have been a pretty great time for you and Roadrunner bands. You know, like Roadrunner bands, like, mate. I mean, you already said I bought Sepultura Roots. You know, then you're getting Typo. You know, like there was some. I mean, the fucking Roadrunner was late '90s, killing it. I mean, just fucking killing it.
And like it was the thing about Roadrunner was such a beacon to me that the first time I heard Slipknot ever, again, was Ian Canfield on XFM, played the demo of Spit It Out way ahead of time and just said, this is Roadrunner's new signing. So I recorded it off the radio. By the time Slipknot were even a thing, I was like, that fucking band. How often, speaking of the late 90s, how often do you hear The More Things Change is the best Machine Head record, Rob?
I'd say it gets some love for sure. You know, like, I mean, I probably hear it more when, you know, Burn My Eyes in the Blackening get all the
of course
accolades or whatever. But like whenever we put up we do a thing where we put up the anniversary of the album, the birthday of the album or whatever. Yeah, and that's when people are like, holy fucking shit, like this, like that. You know, that's when I hear it a lot. Like
I tell you what really spoke to me about your band when it came to those Roadrunner, like as a 15, 16-year-old is like nu metal's my era, right? Fucking sue me, right? But like when you look the way you did when the 10 Ton Hammer video came out, that was my first exposure to Machine Head, and Machine Head was selling shout out Blue Grape, were selling these fucking Machine Head hockey tops and everything.
Yeah.
And like, so I had been well into East and West Coast rap and that whole thing. And nu metal was either too much in the metal camp or too cartoony. And Machine Head just had this almost like suburban, like fucking concrete jungle, real street level feel to it that you can't buy, right? Korn was catharsis for me, right? To hear Jonathan like fuck metaphors for the first time ever in rock music and not kind of tell you what he was saying through code, he would just go, I got bullied and people suck.
You can suck my dick and fucking like it.
Yes, exactly that, Rob. Exactly that. So like I had that.
And then whatever he said after that, I never knew.
Totally.
I don't know what you're saying, but it sounds good though.
Just make the Tasmanian devil noises, innit? Yeah. And so there was a realness to Machine Head, but Roadrunner Records, like to this day though, man, like even now, what Roadrunner is now, they're still representing interesting. There's some really interesting, cutting edge, forward thinking bands on that label now. I love Code Orange, I love Creeper, like a bunch of I really love Marmozets. I don't know if they're on the label still or not. Like they have signed Turnstile. There's the nucleus of it still lives, but that era and that collection of bands, I'll love rock and metal until they put me in the ground, and I'm not sure I'll ever see a label have a run like that. Fucking 93 to 2000 was just like everything insane. Murders. Yeah.
I mean, it was like fucking Monty Connor defined a generation. Like he defined a generation of music, an era at a label that like it is literally, it's fucking I had him on the podcast and it's mind boggling to think. I mean, because predate that, and you've got the early death metal stuff that he signed. Which sold a fucking lot of records. Like people don't realize, like Obituary, Deicide, those early records sold fucking shit tons of albums, man.
Big
like
time.
It was huge. Yeah. And so like it built a fucking label and so sustained it too. Like even some of the bands that are still on there are his signings.
Man. Well, like I mean,
Gojira.
Yeah, and you've gone with him, right? He's the thing I love about Monty is like I have such a low bar in the music business. The low bar is like if you like music, like that, like you're kind of my team, because you would think that everyone who works in music likes music. Not so much,
necessarily,
right? Not so much, right?
Some
but when
just
you've got
like making money.
Yeah, right. Like, but if I meet you in a bar and we can talk about fucking Coal Chamber for 2 hours, right? Like you're on my team forever. And Monty is out there, and Monty on his personal Facebook is out there posting cool shit about good music every single day. I love that about him.
Let's shout out that, because I love that you brought that up. And I never talk about this, but he has got he's got a really interesting Facebook. He doesn't really post any personal stuff, almost never posts political stuff, but almost daily he breaks down album covers from bands of all eras. He did Locust, a couple months ago, just the other day he did Grand Funk Railroad, he does Aerosmith, he does Kiss, he does the Allman Brothers, like all this shit, and he'll go and he'll find like all of the old photo shoots, and then he'll fucking find all of the, I think he just did Slave to the Grind by Skid Row.
Cool. Yeah.
And I guess that was originally some famous, Roman Greek painting that I guess the father redid and incorporated modern characters from whatever, the late 80s, I guess it would have been for Slave to, or maybe the beginning of the 90s for Slave to the Grind, and incorporated it and then added it in. I was just like, and just to see like the whole, I was like, that was really cool. Like to see that. And I never knew any of that. Like,
Mate, the next street to me, I only know this because of Monty's Facebook, but the next street to me, the hotel, is where they fucking shot the front cover of Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. I didn't even realise that.
Shit.
That is literally 10 minutes from me. You will see that on my Instagram in the next week or so.
Yeah, fuck yeah, put that up there. That's right.
Yeah,
I didn't.
love
Did you know that
shit.
you found that out? That you found that out because of Monty?
Through Monty. Yeah, through Monty.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. When he said it, I was like, holy shit, that is literally on the next street to me. Fuck yeah. Like, but I love that what you do find in this game is when you find, like, your people, right? For a little while in England, like, we had a little select group of people that were all fucking super cool at the time. And we, like, every fucking Friday, Saturday night, it would be Crowbar or Big Reds, and then back to
Love
ours.
Crowbar.
Back to
Love
ours
Big
for
Reds.
another couple of hours for more beer and metal, right? It's just like, there's not a day that goes past, mate, where I don't look around me at the life that I am fucking unbelievably grateful to live, and think how brilliant it is that heavy metal has afforded me this, right? And rock and metal and this shit. And I don't understand why you wouldn't love that back. You know what I mean? Like, when people are half-hearted about their love for things, like, I don't give a shit, Rob. Like I get that I'm a music critic. I get that my words have weight now, and I understand these things. But there's a sneery kind of attitude in the business towards someone who's a fan, and I have never let it bother me. Like, I go to shows, I have a beer or three, like, I will sing lyrics. That's the person I am. Like, I got into this for that.
Yeah.
And I don't I don't understand not having that live in you or suppressing that. In wrestling, it's really weird. I'm a big pro wrestling fan, right? And they've got this term that's like, you're a mark. If you like something, if you're really into something and you're unashamed about it, they call you a mark. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm a mark.
That's like a bad word. Like,
you're insulting me for loving something. It's a weird world at the minute, man.
Right. Is that a new thing? I've never heard that. I used to be a wrestling fan, and then I, for no reason in particular, just kind of lost. Like, after Rowdy Piper, and after, Coco Beware, and after Hulk, and like, I kind of, I didn't not like it. I just lost track. You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
Whatever.
Yeah, of course. Like, what fucking violence and machine head happens, mate. You got shit to do.
Right. And then I had got married and had kids, and it was like, I just.
What's your interest now then? If like, what's your thing outside of rock and metal? Like, we've been locked down. What's been your big thing that you're into? Your hobbies?
I've always been into wakeboarding, so I'm crazy about wakeboarding, wake surfing, and so like all summer we go camping for fucking a week, and we get away. I go camping in really remote places, so no internet, no cell service, no, like, you're off the fucking grid, and it's awesome, dude. Like, it's incredible. Like, to not get a notification on your phone is like, because your phone has no service, it can't get any notifications, like nothing. And fucking, you end up talking, and you end up hiking, and you end up fucking swimming, and you're wakeboard, you do all the stuff that you do, and it's fun. You're drinking beer all day in the summer with your friends, and it's fucking amazing. Like, it is literally the thing that keeps me sane. Like, when this gets so stressful and so just, when I need to clear my head, that's the shit that I go do. And granted, we haven't been able to do it. This year's been hard because of COVID, and then with the fires now, like, you can't really, like, all of my campground burned down. Like, the lake where we camp is closed because the whole fucking thing burned down. So, like, just like little shit like that. But I do that, and then just like, being a dad is a full-time job. I've got two teenage boys now who, like, granted, it's probably easier now because they're like, I'll walk into the room and be like, hey guys, we're like, what? What, Dad? What do you want? Ouch. What? I'm just like, I'm just coming in to say what's up. What are you doing? What does it matter? Like, I'm looking at the phone. That's my 16-year-old. My 13-year-old is still like, hi. My 13-year-old's still nice. He's like still just barely a teen. Like, hi, Dad. Give me a hug. You know?
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it.
So there's a lot of that, you know, and it just like when I'm at home, like I'm a dude, like I know a lot of band dudes who go on the road and they can't wait to get home. You know, like they just fucking, I miss my girlfriend, I miss my kid, you know, like that.
Yeah.
And then they get home and they're like, oh my God, I just can't wait to get back on the road. I'm like, I just need to get, you know, and I'm like, I'm the type of dude, like, I'm just like wherever I am, I'm good. Like if I'm on the road, like I'm fucking stuck. Like I'm fucking beyond great. You know, like I'm playing sold out shows. I got fucking people losing their mind. Like we're making money. Like I'm fucking grateful to be doing this. Like I'm so metal that, like you were saying, that metal affords me this. And I'm like, this is all good. You know, this is all fucking good. And then I get home and like I'm like I'm hanging out with my wife and my kids who I love, and fucking this is all good. And I'm not waiting to go on tour. And when I'm on tour, I'm not waiting to go home. I enjoy the moment. Like, and that's to me, that's the way and it's hard to be like that. Like I get why people aren't like that. You know, it's definitely like I think it's more of a societal thing, like grass is always greener type thing. But to me, I've just learned over time, especially from touring for 30 fucking years now, that like just fucking live in the moment and enjoy it. You know, like it's gonna be gone. It might never come back. You know what I mean? Like this moment that you're in right now may never come back again. Like it could be, you know, you don't know if you're gonna ever be able to tour Japan again. You don't know if you'll ever be able to go back to the UK again. You don't know, like who fucking knows what's gonna happen? Like just fucking enjoy it. And yeah, there's gonna be struggles, there's gonna be challenges, but you know,
it's crazy times, man. Like, but the thing that I have found about this, and I'm lucky enough that this applies to my profession, and I am certainly not overlooking what it's like for most people out there. But in my profession, in what I do as a music journalist, what this presents is depending upon how you look at it. On the one side, like it's wild to me that you can't buy Kerrang every Wednesday now, right? Like gone, like that.
What do you mean? Why can't you buy Kerrang every Wednesday?
Kerrang magazine's gone, mate. Like they don't.
Oh, the magazine is gone.
Yeah, the magazine
really?
is gone. Yeah, man. Like
crazy.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
The Big K no longer in newsagents every Wednesday. Mad,
wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
although I gotta say, they stepped up their fucking online thing huge. Like their online shit's sick.
That's
like,
it, man.
It's probably the best online magazine that I've ever seen. You know, it's fucking really good.
Which is why it's super cool that they have taken that and they've taken chicken shit and made chicken salad, and that's what we're all out here trying to do at the moment. So right here, how it applies to what you were just saying is like, my front room now is virtually a recording studio. Like behind me, you can see my shelf, but like down there is a green screen that I pull up to do my shit on Twitch. Like behind me there is a fucking ring light. Like my front room.
Oh, I know. You're really well. I'm looking at you. I'm like, you're so well lit. I was like, I gotta get a light. I gotta get a fucking light.
This is like
your camera looks so much better than mine. I'm like, fuck. I gotta get on my shit.
I'll hook you up with what to get, man. The full 9 yards.
I need some help. I need some fucking help, dude.
But like, so we're doing like I was contemplating the future of the business, right? Because Rome's been silently on fire like for a while in rock media, right? So it's presented some big problems for people, but what it's also presented is massive opportunities for us to evolve from where we were, print magazines, to where the world of media is today, right? Yeah. I'm so stoked to be involved with what we've got going on at Knotfest. Like, so Slipknot have been the first band that have set up their own media enterprise, knotfest.com, YouTube, podcast, the full 9 yards. And to be involved with that is fucking sick. And on top of that,
you had me on there just the other day.
Yes,
which is awesome.
yeah, fucking like first draft, man. Like you were only on week 3 because you were busy on weeks 1 and 2, man. Like but we set up a Twitch as well, and since doing it, since plugging in to that and knowing what's possible with delivering, like the way I've been describing it to people is like YouTube, right? You'll watch a video. So if you're anything like me, you will pause every video that you're watching to have your say about what you've got to say about what they're saying, and then push play on it again. If I'm watching my sports analysis, I want to push pause to go, Kellerman's talking bullshit there, or whatever. With Twitch, you are involved in that conversation. That conversation is 2 ways. So for someone like myself, who like I broadcast for an audience, that audience can now in real time talk to me and we can get to know each other. Like, on top of that, like what I say about rock and metal and how I want to represent rock and metal, I get to do that on Twitch. And last week, it was myself and Anthony Fantano, the Needle Drop, were the top 2 music channels on Friday. Like, and we're doing it by supporting really great rock and metal. I don't care if it fits Spotify's algorithm, mate. I don't care if it's fucking what they'll play on the radio. I give not one fuck. Does it blow my skirt up? Cool. Then it's going on. Does it blow your skirt up? Cool. We can play it and talk about it, and on we go. We are going to define what the vision that we have for rock and metal in this one place, because that is the fucking idea, man. Like every Saturday, I play people 15 tracks that are the best rock and metal that I can find that week, right? The big bands and the big releases, tiny little things. And at the end, they vote on their favourite. And that favourite has gone from Gojira and Deftones, what you'd expect, to fucking Imperial Triumphant, who are this weird psychedelic avant-garde black metal band with jazz elements that was produced by Trey from Mr. Bungle, who used to be in Faith No More. Yeah, he produced it. Like, they picked something from that, and Pig Destroyer, like, because it's all of those things, right? It doesn't have to just be one thing.
Right. Wow, that sounds awesome, man. That's really cool.
I
gotta check it out because you rated me the other day, but the way I'm streaming, I'm so old school. I'm just literally streaming from my phone. So like
Go for it, man.
Like I don't got my laptop hooked up, and I know that's how a lot of people do it. Is they do it through their laptop and then with the cameras and yada yada yada. So
dude, I don't know how to do things by half measures. I had a fucking incredible designer in Pakistan, did all of my overlays because I could see his animation was amazing.
Oh wow! This is on your Twitch.
Yeah, man. Essentially, what I've got is
and it's not your Twitch. It's the Knotfest Twitch. Or is it your Twitch?
Kind of.
Right.
Where the deal that I did with them means
shout out what your Twitch is. What's your Twitch handle?
It's twitch.tv/Mosh Talks. So Mosh Talks.
Okay, right.
Mosh Talks is my show that I do for Knotfest.
On Knotfest,
which is like now currently how we do it. It's changed since you were on. We do the interview. We do the interview live on Twitch. We record that. That goes on to the Knotfest YouTube and goes on to knotfest.com as a story, and the audio is taken from it and put out on a podcast. So for 20 minutes of your time, it goes out live on Twitch, it goes on YouTube, it goes on the website, and it goes on the podcast. Like, and that leaves me with a lot of editing to do with each individual thing. But that's the new world, right? You can sit around crying about where we're at, or is Code Orange doing the same thing? Like Code Orange have totally
that's awesome.
gone.
We've been all over. Like I had to bypass the media, 16 years ago. I was just like, fuck these.
Yeah.
18 years ago, you know, like it was just like it got to that point, and it was just like, look, here's this new thing called the internet. I'm going all in. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm going to keep on going here because this is how we keep on with our fans. And, you know, we're not going to get anointed by the press. And so we're just going to keep our connection with them however we have to. And that's fine. Like, I don't need to be, I don't need to be anointed by the press. I just, you know, we've got this connection and we've got this ability to communicate. You know, I started doing I did the Facebook Lives back I started them in 2017, like right the month that they kicked off. And I was like, this is fucking great. I was like, this is fucking awesome.
As well.
You know, I've probably done less of those though, you know, like I've more gone into, I regularly do the Facebook Live, and now I'm on Twitch, and I love the whole, like, I love the interaction, you know, like I even started doing the acoustic shows over on Nugs, and it didn't have the comments, and I was like, I don't feel like I just, this is the weirdest thing. Like, I like it way better, like seeing that interaction. That's like, you get off on that and you learn about your friends, or they're not even your friends. Like, you learn about these people that
but you feel like friends though, right?
Yes.
Like the people that are in my Twitch are people like, I know who they are. I know their likes, their dislikes and things like that. And the thing is, everyone's got this attitude of like, we'll just make it work. Rob, I raided you while you were playing Trapped Under Ice by Metallica, right? I was like, fuck it. Like, I've been lucky enough to go to 2 10-ton Hammer shows, right? I went to the one at the garage and the one at Ulu.
Nice.
And that shit's fucking fun, man. Like, it's not like, all right, we'll just do this because we can't do that. Like, there's so many positives for the thing we're doing. I've never seen you play Trapped Under Ice. I've seen you do Creeping Death, but no, I've never seen you do Trapped Under Ice. I was buzzing afterwards. Love that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it is a really, really cool platform. I gotta say, I genuinely enjoy. I mean, like, I was just talking to somebody yesterday. This is a couple of days ago, but they confessed to, you know, they got with a hooker. Like, we were having these conversations about, like, the person got with a hooker, and then everybody's joining, like, what? And he was just like, look, it was great. What can I say? Like there was nothing bad about it. Like, I was just like, and I was just like, another guy, like, you know, comes in. He was all like, oh my god, just like high on coke, and like, it was just fucking great. I mean, it's just fucking great shit. Like, I'm just like, this is so fucking funny and random, and like, you know, I'm sober. Like, I'm, you know, I got to drive home. Like, I'm, you know, I'll drink on acoustic shows. I party. Like, I'll drink a few beers and hang out. I'm playing acoustic song, drinking beer. That's why it's called the acoustic happy hour. But
gotcha.
You know, but you know, like, I see what you mean though. Like, I get it. Like, I get it.
We did a couple of weeks ago for my birthday. We did Some Kind of Monster drinking game, right? We watched Metallica's Some Kind of Monster, and you had to drink.
Which is a great fucking movie.
Oh,
fuck
superb.
Everybody who didn't like that movie. If you've ever been in a fucking band, oh my fucking god! Like the fact that they put everything out there so brutally, honestly, that whole fucking scene where Lars goes up like, I don't even fucking know you. Like, I was just like, holy shit! Like, it was depressing, and it was depressing and exhilarating all at the same time. Going, oh yeah, this is what being in a band is like.
Yeah, it's so brave and so bold. But we were doing this game where it was like, you have to drink every time I feel sorry for Kirk. You have to,
this is on
drink.
Twitch. This is on Twitch.
Yeah. We watched it live and we were reacting to it, right? And so you had to drink. If the therapist changed his sweater, you had to drink. Like, we had a bunch of those kind of rules, right? And my moderator, shout out Mazza, my moderator, right? All of a sudden, he's typing just got worse and worse to the point where he disappeared for 25 for the rest of the stream. He drunk so much during the drinking game that he couldn't do his job of moderating my channel, and like, he still gets shit for it now. If ever anyone starts drinking, it's like, is Mazza going to be all right? I love that stuff. I love that it's a real community feel, and to do that while listening and loving, like, fucking the best rock and metal, old, new, underground, extreme, mainstream, whatever.
So on the Friday, or as you said, on the Saturdays, you do top 15 of the newest shit that you found.
Yeah, man.
And then what do you do? What do you do in the middle of the week?
So I do Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Tuesdays I do
Okay, gotcha.
So we have a tournament that runs.
You do interviews. You got to do interviews. Right.
Yeah, we do interviews as they happen, but we also do these other games. So we do tier lists, which are things that are popular on YouTube, which is like you get a bunch of bands or a bunch of songs, and there's like world class, really great, good, not good, and awful. And you have to put each of them in their relative column. We do that tier list. So we do tier lists. We do a tournament that runs all week. This week. Actually, no, I'll wait until this goes out. But the week this podcast goes out, I'm going to make Machine Head our tournament that week. So 16 Machine Head songs enter, and my community and the world of heavy music will let you know their favourite Machine Head song. We just did it with Def.
But do you listen? Do you listen to the songs?
Yeah, we listen to the song.
You play the song. You play the songs, and then you rank them, or whatever.
Vote. No, the people vote.
Right.
So if you're on my channel, right, and let's say it's Davidian and Halo, right, that are up against each other.
So 16 songs enter, 2 songs leave.
Yeah, right. Exactly
gotcha.
that. Exactly
okay.
that.
Okay.
Right. So
okay.
it's 16 songs. 16 becomes 8, becomes 4, becomes 2, becomes 1. Just straight knockout, no seeds. We did it with Deftones. We did it with Deftones. We made it 32 songs. We made it really long.
32. What was the number one song?
It was Passenger. Passenger from White Pony with Maynard on it.
That's a good one.
Right?
That's a good one. Not
even a single.
That's almost unfuckwithable.
What do you think people would vote for as the best Machine Head song?
I don't know. Let me see. Probably Halo or
yeah. I suppose
or Locust maybe.
Yeah. Well, the real answer is Clenching the Arms of Dissent, but that's one for another day. Yeah, man. Like
I don't care what they vote for.
And so Friday,
that's a banger. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my pick. Friday, we do a beginner's guide to a band. So this Friday, when we were the second biggest band, the second biggest channel on music, we were playing an hour of Clutch.
Nice.
What a
That's
world,
awesome.
Man. Yeah, like fucking.
Awesome.
So we do these like beginner's guides, and just the idea is taking
That's
all
pretty
the cool
rad.
shit. Yeah.
That's pretty rad. Because you know what? I feel like I need that. Like there's so many fucking bands out. Like that's kind of the thing. Like sometimes I just don't know where to fucking start, and I'll play like the top 3 songs on Spotify and I'm like, like, I don't know. Like, maybe this isn't where to start. Like, I don't fucking know. Like,
that's it. And it's the thing is like,
we need gatekeepers again. Like,
I agree. I agree.
Like we fucking need gatekeepers again.
I agree. Like look at fucking the sheer amount of music that comes out every week. And the thing about my particular channel is when we pick those 15 songs, I'm not picking for me. I go, okay, I don't dig power metal, right? What's happening in power metal? Like everyone's raving at the minute about this band, Unleash the Archers. Cool. In it goes. Turns out loads of people liked it. I haven't got to. My job is to just show you what's out there, and you'll tell me what you like, right? That role has reversed. When I got into music journalism, we told you what to like, and you go and buy it. Now, I present to you what I think is kind of cool, and you can tell me if it's good or not, and we can go from there. It's a true collaboration between fan and audience, right?
That's interesting, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Cool. And the beauty of it is when people, there's a guy who I love on there. It's a guy called Ozzy, right? Who's in his I think he's in his late 40s, right?
Who's the other music channel you said was you and them were number one?
Me and the Needle Drop, who is like he's a
Needle Drop.
Yeah. He's, if you saw him, you would probably go, "Oh, that guy." He's like bald. He's got glasses like me. He wears a flannel shirt. He's like the biggest music critic on YouTube.
Okay, on YouTube or Twitch?
On YouTube, and now he's gone to Twitch, and
gotcha.
He has 4,500 people watching him, and it's wild.
Crazy.
Yeah,
is he funny? Is he entertaining? Is he American?
You know what? He's American. Do you know what? I think he's really good on the stuff that's not rock and metal. When he talks about rock and metal, I think that some of the perceived notions that he has are clearly from someone who just comes to visit our world and doesn't live there.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
But that being said, he deserves massive credit because he's got the biggest music critic fucking the biggest fucking music YouTube. He eats all of the major magazines, Rolling Stone, a lot of them. Right.
Wow.
And he still takes time to go, this week here's the new album from Nails. This week here's the new Imperial Triumphant or whatever.
Okay,
like
crazy.
he will be out there putting rock in front of people, and he doesn't have to do that. He does that
And
for
it's
love
like
and not numbers.
it's like 3 times. It's also like similar, like 3 times a week or whatever.
Oh yeah, he's on there. I don't know when he's on there actually, but like his mainstay is his YouTube. Like he's.
Yeah. It's a lot of editing. It sounds like a lot of editing.
It's why I'm asking for an in-house editor at Knotfest. That's why, because I'm doing so much shit. Like I feel incredibly lucky. Like my life is work, right? I do this all the time, but I love my life because I love this shit. And I guess that. Yeah, it's a good time for rock and metal to be doing this.
The podcast is separate from that too, right? The podcast is separate.
Yeah, the podcast is.
Is that as prominent now, or is that like? Are you doing that less?
I'm doing that less because I started that with I left Team Rock before the iceberg, right? And when I left there, I had 800 quid left in my bank account, and I started That's Not Metal with an idea that people wanted to be spoken to like they speak to their friends, and it blew up from there. And I thought that was, on a personal level, I was like, right, that's kind of what I want to do from now on. But I hated speculating about art, because I'm not talking to the artists anymore. Right. I didn't like I wouldn't want to think on behalf of Robb Flynn when I'm reviewing the new Machine Head record, right? But if I've spoken to you, then I can go, I thought this, Robb said this. Right. That I need that side of it, which is there's only so many hours in the day, and I do podcasts, YouTube, Twitch. Like I occasionally write. I wrote Chavo from System's new band's bio because he's a mate. Shout out Chavo.
Okay.
So I do bits and pieces of everything, but it's we'll see what happens with the lifespan of the podcast. Not to alarm anyone, but we'll see what happens there, because That's Not Metal can live on without me, I think. So I don't think it's not the Beez podcast. It stands for something like fucking Batman. Right. But the guy in the suit doesn't have to be Bruce Wayne. If Batman's out there doing Batman things, Batman's still around. That's the way that I see it.
Is Metal Hammer still making? They're still making magazines, right?
They're still ticking along, I think.
Cool.
Yep, they're still going. Like Roxanne's still going. Yeah, it was just I think that with Kerrang being weekly, that's a lot of people and a lot of production. Like that's why I think that they've closed that arm of Kerrang sooner than if there's going to be anything more.
Yeah. How do you think? How you holding up during the pandemic?
I feel really guilty, mate, because I got this job just about 3 weeks after the pandemic kicked in, and it's literally my dream. Like, it's why I moved here, and for 2 years here I moved to Hollywood and worried about maybe being one of those stories. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's no joke here. Like, I came to America as like the host of Download Festival, like host of Scuzz TV, like
TV show, right? Yeah.
And I got here, and they were like, "Cool, that hasn't happened in America." So, like, it took.
What's Scuzz?
Yeah, right, right. So, like, it took a couple of years, and so I have literally got my dream job. It's my dream to sit here gobbing off about heavy metal all day, every day in various different ways. So the pandemic's been quite kind to me, but the mental side of that is I hate that I feel guilty for that. I feel guilty because I've got mates who are fucking dying on their ass.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But like, if you are, yeah, man, like fucking, even in this game, like even in the world of rock music journalism, like we're a small pool. Like everyone, whether everyone likes each other or they don't, like it's a small pool where everyone knows everyone. Like, so, like, I hope it comes off well when I say like it's part relief, but like, I got a call that was like, do you want to come and work for Slipknot after 3 weeks? Like, I bought that record the day it came out in Camden when I was 16. Like, I don't feel like a representation of this last couple of months at all, because I've come to America and like landed my dream job. So it's been kind to me. We live in a really small flat. I live off Hollywood Boulevard, Rob. I didn't get the chance to tell you this properly.
Oh, gotcha.
Right? I didn't even get the chance to tell you this when we did the interview. So I interviewed Tommy Lee the week that the protests were going on down Hollywood Boulevard, right?
Oh, shit.
The military helicopters didn't stop for 11 hours a day, and my flat has no double glazing. The windows,
you don't
right?
you don't get the double pane windows.
No, man, the fucking oral assault of the helicopters and everything, like it was one of the most bizarre, terrifying couple of weeks of my life. And the protesters are out there being cool as shit, right? 6:01 comes, you just hear chaos. When the curfew came to the end, like it was just absolute chaos. And that side of things, like it's so real. Do you know what I mean? But my friends from the UK ring me and are like, oh, it seems mad over there. And I'm like, this is like the Spider-Man meme where the Spider-Men are just looking and pointing at each other. It's like, I don't know if you've seen the UK, but like, it looks fucking mad there too.
Right. Kind of does.
Yeah, so the pandemic's been good to me professionally. But personally, like my mates are, I might not keep friends in bands, but my mates are the crew and people like that, the drum tech and the people that aren't lucky enough to have the thing that the public wants for us to be able to go, okay, well, we'll go and do this. Like drum tech don't have that option. Like, so it's, do you know what I mean? It's weird being part of music and being part of something that is going really well and that I'm really proud of. But at the same time, it don't mean shit if my friends can't eat. Weird mental gymnastics of that.
Yeah. It is. I hear you. You know, I mean, I wrestle, you know, from the other side because I've got crew who, you know, have been with me for, you know, a decade. And it's like, it just all came to a stop and we're trying to figure out like, what can we do? What can't we do? What, you know, like it's rough, you know, and I feel a great responsibility on my shoulders as the leader of the band to like, you know, take care of people in some ways, but then going, well, fuck, man, I don't, you know, like I just lost, you know, a year's worth of touring and fucking, you know, I've already resigned. I think I talked about this on your thing. Like I've already resigned myself that this isn't going to let up for like, it's probably not going to get back to normal for about 4 more years. You know, like
do you really think that? That feels so extreme to me.
I think for music touring, you know, it doesn't mean the records aren't going to come out. It doesn't mean that
I'm
music
talking touring as well.
I think that full scale touring, you know, doing an American tour, doing a full European tour where you play 7 shows in Spain and 7 shows in France and 8 shows in the UK and, you know, 8 shows in Germany, like the whole, you know, you need to do it to that scale, you know, because you've got cities that are your anchors. I always call them like anchors, you know, like that's what your big payday is, you know, that's what anchors the tour. And then you're filling it in with sometimes sometimes you're playing a show where like you're losing money, like you're just doing the show just to like just to get you from point A to the next anchor. To the next anchor. And so you just do it because like, it's either that or spend fucking $5,000 for hotels and everybody to still get paid on a day off. So you just do it.
It's the vaccine.
And I think having that, that full scale ability to tour every country or every state, without it isn't going to be back for a while. And I say that because my personal opinion, and I hope I'm wrong. Listen, let me preface this right now by saying I fucking hope I am so goddamn wrong about it. I will be thrilled to be like, you were fuck sweet, woohoo. I think though, my opinion after just what I've studied, and granted, I am not knowledgeable and I'm no epidemiologist. I don't know jack shit, but just looking at the fucking last pandemic we had here in the US, it went on for 2 years. It came in waves, came about 4 different times, went down, came back extra strong, went down, came back extra strong, went down, came back a 4th time, and then it kind of fizzled away. And that 2 years of mental pandemic, craziness, uncertainty, anxiety about the future, whatever. I think that when it's all over, and it was exactly what happened then, back in 1918, was that the pandemic ended. And it took another 2 years for life to go back to normal, for people to go out to bars, for people to go out to, because they were just so shell-shocked by everything that had happened. They were so freaked out about, oh my God, is another one to come? I got to save my money because I can't fucking, I need to save for a year, which in a band's place is kind of like, I joined a band because I wanted to live in the moment and just fucking day to day and fucking my life is crazy. I didn't want to have to think about 10 months into the future. And now that's all being in a band is constantly thinking about 10 months into the future, because fucking you get paid every, you make a record and a year and a half later you get paid, and then you got to live off that money for the next year and a half. Like it's fucking insanity. And so it's funny when I think that like that's going to be, and I think that there's going to be pockets where that opens up. I think like certain markets are going to be open up. I mean, look, they're already having festivals with fucking, everybody like 6 people on a little fucking cow fucking thing. I'm like,
it's not for me.
Never. Like I can wait. Like I can until like I want fucking circle pits and machine fucking heads and everybody jumping and fucking complete insanity. And until it can get back to that, I'm good with waiting, because that was fucking hard. That's, venues are talking about open up 25% capacity when they do open up. A lot of the big promoters have already come back to everybody saying, hey, your guarantees gonna have to go down by 50%, which is fucking unthinkable for most bands financially.
Can't live.
And a show that's 25% is like a shitty, that's like when you were a fucking shit. That's when you were a local band playing a shit show, like
for real.
No one wants to do that, that's crazy.
My hope is in the vaccine. My hope is in science. Like I'm hopeful that with the sheer.
We don't believe science. We don't believe science. Come on, we're Americans. No, I'm not having it. Science is a hoax. Come on, what are you talking about? Only Donald Trump knows the truth. He's the only person in the whole world who knows the truth.
It's so mad being here, like as an observer, and with November coming and living here with no voice.
You must just be like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, that's what the thing is, mate. Like the reason I moved here is I love Americans. Like in London, when you are as loud and me as I am, like when you're talking, you can feel that guy shut the fuck up eyes, right? Here, like you are all like loud Everybody's and forward. Well, you yourselves, man. There's no repression here, for better and for worse, right? You just totally, you are allowed to be who you want to be and see and I that's the thing to me. but my God, yeah, it's to watch. Like I was up because I used to do my work in the middle of the night in England when your last election was happening and the presidential debates were happening. I was up working, right, just with it on in the background. I was like, I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. I was like, this is like fucking American Idol or something. It felt like
Right.
like I know her husband got gobbled off, right?
Yeah.
I know him.
Blowjob, right?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Gobbled off. Gobbled. Oh my God, what a great name for a blowjob. Gobbled off.
It's gobbled off.
Gobbled off.
And he's from The Apprentice.
And he got gobbled off too. Who knows how many fucking hookers?
Yeah, fucking too many. But just the watching it was very bizarre. But the one thing watching it through those eyes, but being here and like the run up to November and like that day, I think I'm locking myself in the toilet the day that goes, because that is going to be
and just staying there for another week because it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy for the week after too.
It's going to be a whole other level of bedlam on the streets them days, mate. I'm having none of that.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. Yeah.
Bless him.
I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here with us. It's nice to hear your out of state, out of country thought, because you hear so many Americans and what they think, and like that's fine. Like everybody's entitled to their opinion, whether you love Trump or whether you hate Trump. I've got everybody's like, because I lean pretty left, but like I'm not Mr. Super fucking like I think Biden's a fucking schmuck. Like I fucking listen to him like fucking talk sometimes, and I'm like, oh my God, like just shut up. Like fucking who is this dude? Like fucking, but I got friends who were Republicans. I've got friends who are Christians. I've got friends. I've got friends who are Democrats. I've got friends who are Christians. I've got friends who are Satanists. I've got friends who are complete anarchy punk rockers. I've got friends who were like, oh my God, the only thing that we should ever follow is the Constitution. Like I've got a million, like everything in between, and I love them. Like I love them all. Like the fact that we're so, we just had September 11th the other day, and somebody asked me. It was the day that I was doing my acoustic live show. Yeah, and somebody asked me to talk to do a song for that day and to remember the people who died that day, and it's for a lot of people, that was 19 years ago. Like some young people, they don't remember. They were born after that happened. So as we get farther away from it, it is it's less of a thing for younger people, and I sat there thinking about it, and I just. I was trying to think of a song to do, and I was trying to think about just what to say because I always talk a little bit before the song. Yeah. And I was just like, the thing that I remember more than any of that time is how united we were, like as opposed to now where we've got this one person has literally turned Americans against fellow Americans. We're all Americans, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, whether you like Trump or not, like we're all from this country. And at that moment, if you went back to that time period, like all of that was erased. You know what I mean? Like we were all this one thing trying to get through this horrible fucking time together. And to see what it is now is fucking, it sucks, man. Like it breaks my heart.
What hits me about, because I think we both lean the same way politically. Like I lean to the left, but I find it insufferable at the minute with the left insisting that everyone be offended by the same things, and insisting that I just see people on social media all day, every day, telling other people what to do, and that is not my idea of a way to live your life, man. Right? Like there's got to be some time where we start listening to each other. There's so much. Yeah. There's so much shouting. The thing is, I understand it 100%. I understand why everyone's apoplectic with rage, right?
Yeah.
I do. The world's in a shit place, but until you look at the person next to you and try to understand him, like, or at least try and attempt to find a middle ground. We've got to all live here together, man. Like, I moved here, right? And you get an idea in your head of what a Trump supporter is like, right? And I was driven in a cab by one. I was in an Uber with a Trump supporter, and it was fascinating to me. I was like, tell me how you think, man. Because, like, to me, it seems so crazy to be so outwardly hateful in certain ways. And sometimes you learn about people that they are misguided. Sometimes you learn about people and the background that lead them to those views, and they don't know that they are being exploited by a system, because that system has exploited them so massively that they don't understand that they have been tied up in knots. I know people that I have known my whole life, mate. And I listen to them talk about politics today, and I don't recognise who they are. It breaks my heart to listen to them. And I just think to myself, that's not who you are. That's just something that's been drummed into you. And it's not about looking at people and seeing the worst in them. It's about looking at them and trying to see a way that they can make themselves better and living with that rather than... I know I sound like some giant fucking hippie here, but like...
It's, you know what though, like, you're right.
We
it's like
share fields with these people at metal festivals.
People are like, I was like, oh, you hate Donald Trump so much. Like, I read the Donald Trump book when it came out, like The Art of the Deal. I read the book when it dropped. I still use some of the things in that book. Like when it comes to like promoting Machine Head, like he had some great things that he had to say. I got that. I didn't, he was a Democrat back then. Like people, a lot of that, our short-term this was only like less than 10 years ago. He was a Democrat. He was a Manhattan living coastal elite Democrat, billionaire playboy. I fucking saw every time he came on Howard. Like, I loved him. He was super fucking funny. When he came on Letterman, he was funny. It wasn't until he turned into a Republican, so to speak, that he was just like, whoa, like, what's up with this fucking dude? But like, to me, the thing that the biggest thing for me that always strikes me with just, and I don't want to say Trump supporters, but like, I'm a dude I was raised in a white trash neighborhood. I grew up 3 blocks from the trailer park that my dad grew up in. I grew up 3 blocks from and I don't want to say I never considered us poor, like, even though we were poor, but we had a small house. I had my own room, like we had a heater, we had a toilet, you know what I mean? Like we weren't fucking living in complete squalor. I didn't grow up in a shanty town with fucking no toilet, like my dad, who grew up literally in a fucking tiny aluminum trailer with 5 people, no toilet, no heat, no AC. If they wanted to go to the bathroom, he had to shit in a bucket and carry it down to the fucking community fucking shithole or whatever the fuck it was, where you dumped the bucket. You know what I mean? And he would walk me by there. Like, we would go on walks. My dad and I always went on walks, and we went on this one particular walk up this area we hiked. And we'd walk by there, and he would tell me, he's like, this is where I grew up right here. And he'd tell me about, having to shit in a bucket and all this. And so to me, I was like, we got a toilet. Like, we're not, like, I'm not poor, but we were poor, and coming from that poor mindset, I think does, it does shape you. You like saying how you grew up in the fucking urban jungle, like you had to walk fast, you had to talk aggressive, and you had to be loud because you do, like, you have to, like, or you're going to get fucking, you're going to get eaten by the wolves, like, for real. You become, and I don't want to say I became a wolf, but at times you had to become a fucking wolf, or it was like you were them, and in that mentality, you do get beaten down by society in some way. And that this guy Trump comes along, and to me, he's like, in many ways I admire him. I think he's like probably the greatest con man that the world has ever known.
It's crazy, isn't it?
This is a guy who was his family was so unfathomably rich. This dude, I mean, you talk about, there's a saying, born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Like, I mean, like, there's nobody literally who fucking fits that better than him. He was a millionaire by the time he was 8 years old. He had a $200,000 a year allowance. Dude, I've had 3 years in Machine Head where I made $200,000 in my whole fucking career in Machine Head. This motherfucker made that shit a year every year. Like fucking, and this back in the fucking season in the 70s, for God's sakes. Like, this is crazy.
That Antichrist superstar that Antichrist superstar I told you about earlier, I didn't eat at school for 5 days. I just held my dinner money so I could buy Antichrist Superstar on a Friday. Fuck your 200 grand.
Dude, I mean, this dude inherited $400 million. He went to the finest private schools, the finest high schools, the finest colleges, the fucking best, had like everything that you could. But this dude cannot relate. Why is he such a fucking
idiot then?
This dude can't relate to fucking having to hold your fucking, food, your lunch money for 5 days. He can't relate to eating a top ramen. I used to eat top ramen sandwiches, dude. Like fucking, that's what you had to do. I ate, sometimes I ate cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That was not all the time. There was plenty of times we had chicken or ground beef or whatever, but like fucking, like he can't understand anything that any of his fucking, the vast majority of people who look up to him or support him or supporters or whatever you want to call them. And it's like, that's the part that I just don't understand, how you could follow somebody who's had such, and then turn around and blasts coastal elites and the rich, and they're like, I'm just like, wait, motherfucker, you were raised in Manhattan. You got a gold toilet in your Manhattan, a fucking building that you live in, for God's sakes. Like, this is fucking the most insane alternate reality world that I've ever seen. And yet here we are, and here we are.
I tell you what surprises me about the supporter idea, not just of Trump, but like, we'll use Trump as the example, right? So I like Nightmare on Elm Street, right? I love the Nightmare on Elm Street series, right? But Nightmare on Elm Street 6 is shit, right? Nightmare on Elm Street 5, so 5's not too good either, right? I could still like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Like fucking life-changing.
God
life-changing.
Right? I love New Nightmare as well. Dream Warriors is sick. Like, but if I say that it's all great.
Wait. Is Dream Warriors the one where he comes to life in the pepperoni pizza and starts talking through the pizza?
That's 4. 3. No, this is the one. This is the one where he makes the guy's veins come out of his wrists and he walks him off the building. And they all turn into what they are in their dreams to fight him. It's amazing.
Right. Okay.
That elves guy, fucking hilarious.
Because I remember the pizza, when the pizza one, and I got to the pizza and I was like, all right.
I'm out.
What?
I'm out at this point.
What the fuck did I just watch?
Where he's in like a Super Nintendo game killing people and they die in real life was the bit where I was like, ow.
Okay.
But the point being, right, it's okay to acknowledge that the thing I love is shit in some ways. What I don't understand about the Trump supporter is the backing of everything he does, right? If he does something abhorrent, you could still say, politically, he's my guy, but that's shit. You've lost nothing there. But because of the constant anger towards everyone, just a second of showing vulnerability is you just get pummeled for it. Like, so no one backs down on anything. Right, so I feel like I spend my life defending Joe Rogan. Right, when people start with Rogan, I like Rogan because I feel like he gives everyone a voice. Right, if I can listen to that and I can listen to everyone's voice and decide who I agree with and decide who I don't agree with.
Yeah, he doesn't give everyone a voice.
No, okay. Who are you picking on there?
Elizabeth Warren wanted to go on there. He shut her down.
Oh, really?
And Biden
Okay, I didn't
too.
know that.
And I was curious
See,
about
that's
that. I was like,
bullshit. You gotta
why
let
the fuck
Biden.
would you bring that? Yeah, why would you let Alex fucking Jones on, but you're not going to let Elizabeth? Like, what the fuck, dude? You know, like,
Yeah.
but he actually publicly made that statement, like that.
Wow.
I didn't, you know, I just felt like I don't know what he felt like. He's going to be seen as too partisan or whatever, and I was like, well, you know, but you put a lot of conspiracy wackos on there, and now look where we're at, and like, like fucking, and you won't put like someone, you know, Elizabeth Warren's like a pretty, you know, she's a fucking pretty, you know, whether I agree with her politics or not is irrelevant. She's a pretty decent human being with a pretty interesting story, and kind of a fucking badass. You know, like fucking why wouldn't you put, like, she shut fucking Bloomberg the fuck down, and I was like, holy shit, like she's a beast.
Yeah. Like like if you've got the opportunity to interview a presidential candidate, you got to do it, man. But like the notion that it's some kind of right-wing frat house just because it gives people on the opposite side of the spectrum, on the opposite side of the thought process to you, I can never get with that. I don't believe in extremism either way. Right. Like, and everything is just cacophonous noise. Like, no one's fucking listening to each other at all at the minute. And I miss people not hating people they don't even know. I miss people like telling everyone else to live their lives the way that they see best. I'm just sick of it, man. Like, we're all here trying to do our best. Cut the fucking racist shit, like, instantly. Like, there is not enough zeros. There are not enough votes for you.
You're telling somebody how to live, then.
Yeah, but like, come on, man. Like, that's my
like,
line.
See, like, there's got to be some. Like, there's got to be some. Like, this is the way you got to be. You fuck.
There's got to be a line. Right? There's got to be a line. And the line, the bit where anyone loses me is hating someone for what they look like, what they're oriented. Like, everyone loses me at that point. I don't care who you are. The second you start hating someone you don't know for what they look like or what their sexual orientation is or whatever, like, I've got no time for any further words to fall from your face. Like, you lose me at that. But like, beyond that, let's talk, right? And like, more importantly than let's talk, let's fucking listen and try to understand each other just a bit, a bit more.
Yes.
Even if the person's a cunt.
Have you seen the movie The Social Dilemma yet? That documentary?
Mate, we watched it. Yeah, we watched it the weekend. Me and my wife did. I got banned from Instagram for a week. I went onto my Instagram.
Really? Wow.
And what I saw, that fucking thing's takeaway was put your phone away. Mine was, I can't put my phone away, so what I should do is make the digital diet that I'm serving myself far better, right? So I went onto my Instagram, and anything that I find inflammatory, I was deleting the lot. Because I deleted so much shit in such a short amount of time, they think that I'm using a third-party app, and they've banned me for a week.
You were deleting comments, or you were deleting? No,
I was deleting.
Like,
I was deleting people that I follow. So I was unfollowing people because what they put into my feed does not bring me joy, right? I'm supposed to enjoy. I'm supposed to go here for enjoyment, not to be wound the fuck up or or whatever. So I was streamlining it, and they cancelled, and they banned me for a week. But regardless,
that's ridiculous. Why the fuck would they do that? And why wouldn't they just reach out to you and go, "Oh, hey, by the way, are you doing this?"
Yeah. It's like, yes, I am. And the thing is, like, surely that's going to happen to loads of people who watch. Like, when you watched it, were you not like, oh my phone? Like, what have I become?
Dude, I watched it. We watched it as a family this last Sunday. And
what did your kids think of it?
My 16-year-old in particular is like, and I say this to him all the time. I'm like, dude, you are completely addicted to your phone. Like, you are completely fucking, you get all the notifications, you get all the pings, you get all the friend things, you get all the thises, the that's, the Discord, the internet, the WhatsApp, the fucking Instagram, the Snapchat, the TikTok.
I'm the same.
You know, like,
I'm the same.
It's all, And I was just like, I was like, I really want you to watch this because I just want you to see, you know, like how,
What it is,
you know,
yeah.
what is being done to this and why it is being done. And like, you know, we tried to talk to him about it after, and it was just like, look, he watched it. So I was like, okay, you know, I'll let the seed plant for a little while and then I'm going to bring it up and talk to him. But both Ginevra and I were like, oh my fucking God. Like it's so true. And, you know, the interesting thing is how the algorithm, you know, is, you know, especially now in this political climate where it's like, it's putting the shit that it knows is going to get the most reaction out of you to keep you on there longer.
Yeah.
After that movie, I went and turned off every notification that I get. And I never had notifications on for Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. Fucking drove me crazy. I bet somebody commented, who gives a shit? Like fucking, you know, like, yeah. But I had like news things that were doing it. I had other things like a lot, and I was like, all of it's off. All of it's fucking off, you know. And I have been, even leading up in the last month, 6 weeks, even prior to seeing this, I've been muting people like on Instagram. Like I just had to, like, too much, dude. Like I can't, I love you, but like and I'm not going to unfollow you, but I can't, like, you're going crazy. Like, and I fucking, you know, I got a couple of buddies who are like fucking conspiracy wackos. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, like fucking just stop. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. You know, like you're just going fucking crazy. Like, listen to, like, come on, you know? So, but you know, but like one of the things that they said out of there that I thought was incredible, that probably my biggest takeaway: fake news travels 6 times faster than real news, because real news is boring. Real news is boring, and fake news is exciting.
Crazy. Just even conceptually, that's crazy. The biggest thing that I took away from it, right, is because of my job, because I'm in the media, I literally need all of those things on all the time. Of
course. Same here.
Mate, it's exhausting. But the thing I took away from it is, what does my phone tell them about me?
Right.
Can I do something about that? Can I be a better human on my phone so that what I get served is not shit? Or are they desperately trying to find what will break me to make... Because if I'm only clicking on stuff that makes me happy, if I'm only liking stuff that makes me happy and not people saying what's wrong, can I recalibrate what they think about me? Because I'm an angry man, right? Like I learned, I came out here and I learned all this crazy meditation stuff and all the rest of it because it has literally changed my life. I was too angry for too long, man. And I don't need the world prodding me, right? Like, I do enough to try and keep myself to be the best that I can be for everyone that comes into contact with me. And if you're poking the bear, then I'm not going to be that. And especially, like, when you look at the suicide numbers, where you look at how depressed the generation that are coming through are, and the weight of pressure, and you need to look this way, you need to be into this, you need to... That's always been there. But I likened it to bullying. Rob, I'll tell you a really, really personal story. I was bullied at school until I took an iron bar to someone's head. I'm small, right? And people were happy to take advantage of that for a long amount of time. And one day I snapped and then cracked someone. And no one ever did it again. Funny that, isn't it? I've totally forgotten where I was going with that because that's so triggering. What was I saying before that, Rob?
That's pretty heavy, dude.
What was I saying before that?
You were...
Just so... I remember where I was going.
This particular person had been bullying you for a long time.
Yeah. It'd gone on for a bit too long.
Or it'd been or it's like numerous people.
No. It was one person in particular of a group that we were all part of. Like, I was part of like the popular group at school, but like this one kid had a real fucking aversion to me for whatever. I was going home with like my arm being fucking purple where I'd been punched in the arm so many times, and I just broke.
You took a tire iron, like a bar, like a metal bar.
It was like you know the kind of bar that is between two, like a dumbbell. You know, like the dumbbell weights where you've got the thing on either side and the bar in the middle.
Yes.
It was one of them. I spent like the early part of this decade, I was furious, man. The interview that I gave that you were referencing earlier, when I gave that interview, I was ready to fucking physically fight people, right? Like I was livid, man. And when I got to a stage where I was like, I have been unhappy now for about 3-4 years. Like, this is no good, man. Like, I've got to do something about this internally to make externally better. And doing that was fucking game-changing, man. Like, the fact that I now learn that everyone out there, everyone without fail, if you've got a mobile phone, they are trying to do that to you. They are trying to agitate you. They are trying to bring you out of your space. They are trying to ruin your enjoyment of existing. That's a wild thing to conceptualize, man. And I sincerely hope that whoever is next in office really fucking hammers these cunts and really fucking gets into them and regulates the fuck out of this, because, you know, it's making a terrible world, man. People are better than this, and the fact that there are people profiteering off of misery is not new, right? Look at the arms business and all the rest of it. But that everyone finds it inescapable, and that kids can't go home at 3:30 and go, oh, I'm safe now. Like, kids that have been bullied from 9 o'clock in the morning till 3:30 don't get. I knew I had a point, Rob.
You're saying though, you leave school and you get home, and that's finally the safe spot.
Yeah, but not if your phone. Not if your phone. Not if they're coming after you, man. Like, it's something's got to give. Something's got to give. It's not cool, and it's not cool for older people to handle. I mean, I used to work with someone who would spend hours arguing with people on the internet, and it just blew my mind, man. I was like, what are you getting out of this? How can you sit there and like, they were totally cool with it, totally like, well, you know, it's fine, like, I don't take it too seriously. It's like, but you're feeding hate into a hate machine, man. Like, you're not stupid, you're not a stupid human being, like, you must realize this, but it's so addictive, the feeling of superiority, the righteousness of looking at someone else and going, you're wrong. Like, I understand that can give you a bit of a pep, but it ain't nothing compared to everyone not doing that and every day being more pleasant to live with your fellow man.
Right. I like that, man.
Thanks.
I like that a lot.
I always got a lot to say, Rob. Always.
Yeah. That was awesome, man. Thanks for being on here.
Mate, like, anytime. I can't tell you, for someone who wore out a C90 of The More Things Change on their way to school every day, mate, things like this really matter to me. They could put 6 figures in my bank account and it wouldn't mean as much as, fucking hell, what did I do with my Tuesday? Robb Flynn interviewed me. Like, this shit matters to me, man. You can't put a price on it.
Right on, brother. Right on for being on No Fucking Regrets, Beez. Hell yeah. I'm gonna go check out your thing too. I want to see your Twitch now. I want to see this super awesome rad Twitch.
Hell yeah. Twitch.tv/Mosh Talks. That's the place to be, mate.
Hell yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, right there. You know him. The Beez. He's the Beezness. Mosh Talks here on No Fucking Regrets.
No Fucking Regrets!
With Robb Flynn.